Well, it is Wednesday. We're so glad you're with us. It's midweek. It's what day?
Hump day. Middle of the week.
It's been that kind of week, but hey, TGI Hump Day, huh?
Put me on the air.
Yeah, put me on the air.
Start stinking up the airwaves.
That's not true.
It's like my favorite show.
And welcome to the show.
It's showtime, baby.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Wednesday morning. It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We have stuff to give away later in the show. We will get to that coming up. We have several things to touch on this morning. Let's start with the NFL, where Ashton Jeanty went off the field, Raiders practice, and couldn't put any weight on the leg. Everybody worried it was serious. It was non-contact. Now it appears to be a sprained ankle. But his coach, Clint Kubiak, doesn't want to go into it, just saying he's on the mend. On to Cincinnati. What are you, Bill Belichick? Come on, man. Tell your fans. You've been abusing your fans. Well, you haven't because you're new. But the team's been abusing its fans ever since they moved to Vegas. Throw them a bone already. Tell them what's going on. People are so into it. What does it matter? Let them know. What's the problem? Throw them a little bone. Give them something. Come on. As for baseball, how about Cal Raleigh going deep in his first at-bat? So now he's got homers on 4 straight at-bats because he homered in his last 3 at-bats Monday, and then he homers in his first at-bat Tuesday. And the Mariners win again. They beat the Phillies 4-1. And the Padres suddenly can't hit. They lost the Pirates 3-2, and now they lose 1-0. Skeens shut them out for 6 innings. And guess who won? The Arizona Diamondbacks, moving within a game of the Padres for the last wild card spot in the National League. Tightened it up. They're 3 games behind the Phillies. So we got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. College sports news, the Big Ten has already banned NFL players coming back. Now it looks like the SEC and the Big 12 are going to follow suit. So if the ACC does, then we'll see if there's some antitrust. Well, the 4 leagues are colluding, right? Be back in front of a judge again, I'm sure. And then there's the soccer news. Real Salt Lake dominated by León. Shut out. León gets a goal in the first half, 21 minutes in, and then 2 quick goals in the middle of the second half and turns into a blowout, a 3-goal win, and RSL is out. And they are now 2 wins, 5 losses, 4 draws in their last 11 games in all comps. They've just lost too many guys. They are down. Justin Glad, obviously haven't placed Gozo. Obviously Booth is out. And then on top of that, you've also got the long-term injury to Emeka Nelly and Arith Puyol, who was a young guy invested in last year who they thought might be able to help up top. They're just missing too many guys, too many injuries. So I don't know that they could have won if they had their best team, but there's no way they're missing this many guys. And it's really led to a rough month since they came back from the World Cup. And the fact they've had to play 8 games in 25 days, you don't have a lot of depth because all these guys are out. And now you're playing 8 times in 25 days, twice a week, and the team just looks gassed. They're a step slow. They're not quite there. They had 2 or 3 good chances to score playing up the left side and cutting balls right through the 6-yard box, and they just didn't have anyone who had the legs to get on the end of them. Just always seemed to be a day late and a dollar short, a step off. It didn't quite work. For more on what went wrong, here's RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni.
I just go back to the same thing that's been kind of haunting us, in particular the Dallas game and the Minnesota game, where the structure looks great, but the structure is only as important as the duels within that structure, both offensively and defensively. And on numerous occasions, we have one defensive action and not a second one, right? And so that I think that's the toughest part. And we're there, one defensive action, 2 defensive actions, winning the ball back. And I think the set piece goal is case in point. It's this. Being more aggressive when we defend, having more bite to our game. And what I was explaining to the guys is in football, there's moments in a season where you feel like you're dancing through the game. And there's other moments where you have to roll up your sleeve. And, I think we saw a little bit of that in Orlando with those guys rolling up their sleeves, and it looks a different team, right? And so, again, I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know just trying to put a finger on the why, as to, again, the structure's fine. And that's maybe the biggest thing, where the last probably 3 weeks to a month, we've done all our coaching on video, but we haven't touched the grass in a way that allows us, with so many games, to get into the nitty-gritty of what defending feels like. And so that's really my biggest takeaway from the game, because again, I think, we created some really great opportunities tonight, and we didn't score, and that's not going to help. But defensively, I thought, we didn't give up a whole lot, but we conceded 3 goals, right? So, we just got to go back to the drawing board. There's, again, within that, there were some good performances. And like I tell the guys all the time, the effort was top. Like Morgan Gilavogi pressing guys, and then at 94th minute down 3-0. Aiden Herzakani doing the same. Pablo run. The guys will give maximum effort. But but like we've talked about in the past, Matty, the game of football is a game of moments. It's not 90 minutes. It's 5,400 moments. And if you don't get all those right, then you put yourself in a position to not get the results that you want.
Still look like the games that are down 1-0 in the 65th minute, and then they just get 2 goals in 7 minutes. What did you see in that stretch that went their way as opposed to your way? Yeah,
well, again, I think if you don't capitalize on your chances, and again, tonight I thought we had some really clear chances on goal, and goals not only affect the result, but they also change the mindset, mentality, and momentum, right? And so, and when you're in a stretch like we currently are, it's really easy to get down. And that's why I go back to we need soldiers now, a soldier mentality, where we expect it not to go our way, but we're still ready for the fight. We expect it now. Before, and there's this transition when you're dancing through the game, that you're catching the breaks, the balls, everything you shoot goes in, you're defending 1v1 and you're making the plays. But there's other moments like now, which is we're not getting any of the breaks, right? But the mindset going in to this weekend anyways is expect it to go poorly and show up. And I think that's really the message moving forward.
There is RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Frank Dolce is talking football with PK and I. Stay with us. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined once again by Frank Dolce. He's going to join us every week throughout the year to talk Utah football. Frank, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Frank.
It feels like this is just, did it feel like football season just ended?
No, it feels like it's been a very long time.
It really doesn't.
It feels like
it's been a long time, and it's been a long and hot summer.
And it has. And it feels like camp's been going on forever. I feel like
forever. We've
talked about almost everything, and I'd really like to see a game, and that'll give us new stuff to talk about.
Right. I know. The truth is, I don't really like all the preseason stuff. I mean, I guess I like to generally know who's coming back and kind of which position groups need some work and which people feel good about. But I don't do that. I'm not great at the speculation stuff. I need a few games of data to really feel like I'm making commentary that's meaningful.
What I find interesting, if the coordinator changes, if you have a good season, they got on the same page. But if you have a crappy season, well, they change coordinators. And so what is really the truth? Because obviously Utah is changing coordinators, and for Dampier, it's his guy. Losing Beck, what's his guy, right? They made an offense click at 2 different spots at a high level, and now McGivern, well, it's not that big of a deal. But yet, if we get to November and they've lost 5 games, it'll be a big deal. I want to know where the truth is on that. Well said.
I think the truth thank you. I think the truth is somewhere. The truth might be somewhere else with this team because of what's happening up front. And I think that's the critical piece. But as far as Dampier and McGiven go, I just think it's going. I'll judge it based on the utilization, I guess. We keep hearing about the great wide receiver room at Utah, and I don't know. Like I said, speculations is my thing. Maybe that's a thing this year. Maybe it's not. But Dampier and a great wide receiver room doesn't seem like an exact match to me. Maybe Ficklin is the guy with a really good receiver room, but as well as Dampier did last year, and some of the critical completions that he made, I mean, that seemed to be the thing, is he made a throw and he made a play in a really critical situation. But I just don't. He's not like, he doesn't throw the ball downfield. That's not his strength. So I think it'll be based on utilization. How is Dampier able to be productive in the McGiven offense? So I'm curious to see how this. I don't think it's going to be throwing the ball downfield. And that, could be completely wrong. But I'll be interested to see how that unfolds. In these scenarios, we know what Dampier is capable of. And if he falters significantly this year, then I would probably lean more on, well, maybe the coordinator's not putting him in the right situations.
I thought he was good throwing short and medium range passes. You're right about the deep ball, and I always thought there'd be a chance to throw a deep ball if he threw it earlier, because he's got to put air under it, right?
Yeah.
If you take a 5 or 7 step drop and you wait until the guy's 20, 30 yards downfield to throw the ball, it's going to be underthrown. He doesn't have the kind of arm to throw a dart out there 50 yards. But if it's a 3-step drop and you throw it early and you throw it to a point downfield, maybe that could work. But there's a lot of big plays made in the passing game with medium-range throws if guys can run after the catch. I mean,
no doubt.
We didn't say this about Cam Rising, right? But if you take one long Cam Rising touchdown pass, most people would say, oh, he threw a crossing route to Money Parks and USC had like 6 defenders take bad angles, and it went for a touchdown, right? That was a medium throw. That's a throw Dampier can make and did make. I know you got a guy.
Absolutely.
You got to have guys who can run. I just think with new coaches, it's a new head coach, it's a new offensive coordinator, it's a new receivers coach. If they're ever going to change what they have at wide receiver, it seems like now to be the time with a bunch of new coaches evaluating and new priorities from the coaches. And you've got an offense coordinator who brought in 2 receivers from the 2 schools he was at previously, and a receivers coach in Bumpus brings a guy in from Mississippi State. They're bringing in guys they know. There's no guesswork here. They've seen how they practice, seen how they watch film, see how they play in games. And if they don't get it right now, we should just stop talking about receivers forever. I mean, forget it. Never mind.
Forever. I think you're right. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is a downfield passing game doesn't seem to be a good match. Like, he's not going to throw, seam route 15, 20 yards downfield or a go route, or maybe even a deep crossing route. I don't know. But if it's a lot of underneath stuff, isolating receivers, crossing routes, utilizing tight ends, even backs out of the backfield,
pick plays.
I think all of that fits really well with Dampier's skill set. And then you mix into that his ability to extend a play and run the ball and all of those things. I think there's a good chance this could be a highly effective. I really like the running back group. I mean, I think there's a good chance in the offensive backfield this could be a really productive offense. But it still goes back to what's happening up front, how that unit's going to come together.
Yeah, for sure. They've got to get that offensive line to be productive. And if it is, I see no reason why minimally it's not as good as I'm talking about the offense in general, not as good as it was. It should be as good, is what I'm trying to say, as last year. I'm expecting it to be better because he's got another year experience. Ficklin's got another year of experience. They're not. I don't care what they can pump up the receivers all they want. Good for them. It doesn't really matter to me because as long as you get in the end zone, who cares? This is not going to be an offense that is known as a passing offense. If you're doing that, you're undercutting Dampier's overall skill level, and his skill level is extremely high with his ability to make plays, and the same with Ficklin. So I would suspect I wouldn't say, well, if they don't do it this year, they're never going to do it, because I don't expect them to do it. Be pass heavy. They would be silly to be pass heavy when you have those types of explosive runners and Parker, who is very good himself. So that's what you're going to do. I would expect to see more of the same, but maybe at a little bit of a higher level, and maybe that just boils down to Dampier staying healthy. And if that's the case, the offense should be very productive, but it's not going to have a bunch of 350-yard passing games.
No, I don't think so either. That is certainly a possibility. That could happen. I mean, 350-yard passing game, but I don't suspect that to be what this offense will be about this year. I'm also curious about Dampier and Ficklin and how you appropriately manage playing time for both of those guys. And I've talked about it. I know you guys have talked about it. A two-quarterback system and the challenges associated with that. But it's really, I think it's really hard to keep a guy like Ficklin off the field for a significant amount of time. So I'm interested to see how Coach McGiven manages that piece of the game.
I'm really intrigued by that too. I don't have any good answers to that, but Ficklin seems, in everything he says, he seems to really get it and seems to like the plan. He gets the plan. He seems to like the plan. He seems very content when he speaks. I mean, we hear so much of the other stuff, and I just don't hear any of that out of him. And I'm pretty sure if that's what he wanted to get out there, he would figure out how to get it out there. So I'm with you. I can't explain it, but it seems to be working for the two of them.
The explanation is just go look at 25, the film from 25. Why wouldn't you do the same thing? It worked. Why would you change something that doesn't work? That is working.
I think the thought is he wants to be on the field more and do more. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe
he's got to beat him out or transfer, and he
Yeah.
chose not to.
Right.
So I don't know why that thinking is.
Well, that's how I would be thinking, is I want to be on the field.
Yeah.
I want to be on the field more. And maybe it is a situation where he's content. Like he's content to get 10, 15 plays during a game maybe. And who knows, maybe they're going to utilize him in other ways. I mean, he lined up in different position groups last year. Ficklin did. So did Dampier. And so maybe that's a way to get around it. But I would just suspect, unless Ficklin is just saying, look, I know this is going to be a year where I'm limited in action, but I know I'm going to be the guy next year, and I can manage that, and I can play here for a couple more years as a full-time guy, and that'd be great. Maybe that's his mindset.
I mean, the game plan is already there. I don't see why you would mess with it. They won 11 ball games with that game plan and lost one game on the road by 3 points where they couldn't convert some fourth downs, and the coach decided not to go for field goals. And I realize we can second-guess all we want, but that's the reality of it. So continue what you do, just do it at a higher level, and I think it boils down to what you said, Frank, that the receivers are not going to be any worse than they were last year. Wayshawn Parker is not going to be any worse, barring injury, of course not, and hopefully that's not the case. And Ficklin and Dampier are not going to be any worse. At minimum, they're all going to be as good. You can argue they're going to be better, and then it boils down to the guys up front because they're the only ones who are different. Yeah,
I really think that's the case. It boils down to what happens up front. So, and PK, I don't know if I have not recognized this in the past, but it seems like you are very optimistic about this team this year, or the offensive side of the ball this year.
I see no reason not to be. If the offensive line, and Jordan Gross is telling us they're 10 deep, and they've got guys. The thing about it is they didn't have a bunch of guys just stand over on the sideline. They've got so many snaps. I saw the D News did a piece on it, and I saw it of the amount of snaps that these kids coming in this year got. And we know that the first rounders didn't play in the bowl game, and that bowl game sitting in the press box was the best that I've seen Dampier play. And, well, yeah, okay. That they just ran over and through and by and every which way to beat Nebraska. Their offense literally did it all. By air, by ground,
land, and by sea.
By sea,
I mean,
yes.
And sea. No, it did. It rained a lot during the SU Colorado games, and it still floated their boats. So
and I've got sea on my mind because I spent last week in the South Bay, Frank, and it was glorious. So yes, and I rode the waves for 4 days in a row, and it was awesome. So yes, they can beat you by sea too.
That is an amazing. It is an amazing. That's the one thing that I really miss from California. Utah's an amazing place, but if Utah had, here's what I would say: if Utah had a beach like the South Bay, and if it had 4 to 6 months of fall, it would be the perfect place.
Yeah, there'd be 25 million people here.
I was going to say, if Utah had a beach, there'd be 50 million people here, and you'd be complaining about the traffic just like you do in L.A. It's great, but I can't get anywhere.
I'd be calling you from Montana saying, if Montana
had a beach, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, I think it's an interesting – I think this is an interesting time for Utah football. There's certainly a lot of excitement about the program right now. I think that kind of excitement can carry you to a few wins, and then we'll see how the team settles into the middle of the season. If they get off to a quick start,
which I think they will.
The schedule lines up that way for sure.
Yeah.
So I would be optimistic about this team, but I think there's some question marks certainly that have to be answered that I just don't think we'll know until no one will know until we're a few games in. And that all of those things to me hinge around the 5 guys up front. I'm really interested to see how Jordan Gross does and how he puts that offensive unit together. It feels like the offensive line has been kind of a slow starter for Utah in the last few years, and then they seem to get rolling along. And this would building a new unit lends itself to that. Maybe a slow start, but we'll see how they put it together.
Did you interact a lot? I know Alex Gerke was up there, but I don't know the timeline with when you were there.
Yeah,
because he's back as an analyst and Gross is the coach.
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like those two aren't going to mess that up. I mean, they aren't. I mean, between the two of them, they know what they're doing. It's an extra pair of eyes on that. And they've recruited well. It's like PK said, they were missing their star offensive lineman against Nebraska and had to run a bunch of guys out there, and 44 points. They went up and down the field on them all day. Didn't look like they were getting pushed very hard there. I get that they lost 2 first-rounders, so you've got to take the rebuild and you got to take it seriously. But at the same time, it seems very doable.
Well, I know Jordan Gross as a player wasn't your typical – or what you think of maybe as your typical offensive lineman. He was, super thoughtful about that position, just worked like crazy on his technique. I think that was one of the things. He was so big and powerful and dominating that maybe you just didn't appreciate the technique that he had, which, according to all sources was unbelievable. And that's why he performed so well for so long. And so all of those things to me say this is a guy that knows how to build, is going to have a really good insight in how to build an offensive line and put that group together. And of course, having the experience of Coach Gerke up there, who's been around the game, who's seen everything, it's really just hard to replace that kind of experience. And so those two together, if they're all that we think that they are, then Yeah, sure. I could be optimistic about the offensive line. I guess what I am saying is I'm optimistic about the opportunity for the offensive line, and then we'll see how it actually unfolds in the first couple games.
That's fair. I believe that's fair. And I am optimistic. That team went 11-2 last year, and they got a ton of guys coming back. It was the quietest 11-2 in 11-2 history.
No kidding. Isn't that weird? Yeah. It certainly didn't feel like an 11-2 season.
Right.
And yet it was.
Because they lost a couple of games early.
Yeah, because they were 5-2, and 5-2 doesn't have any sizzle, and they didn't have a lot of, or any really big-time games after that, and the offense was on fire at that point, just lighting people up, with the possible exception of the Kansas game. They were just lighting people up the second half of the season, but nobody saw, even the biggest Ute fan didn't see a path to the Big 12 title game. Because nobody really believed BYU and Texas Tech were going to stumble. So that made it quiet.
And that may be the case. That may be exactly why, is because there was no path to the title game. And so 11-2, what an amazing season. Yeah. But in the midst of it, you're like, well, there's no chance of getting the title game. Yeah. So
and then the coach leaves. That's what we're going to remember.
And then the coach leaves. Yeah. Yes. In all of our prognostication last year when we were talking, and this has happened for the last probably 3 years about Coach Whittingham, is he going to retire? Is he going to stay? None of it. I don't recall any of it where we said with any kind of seriousness, well, he's just going to go to another program. He's going to leave and he's going to go somewhere else.
He's going to get a lot of money to go away, and then he's going to get a lot of money to go coach in Michigan. That was not right.
That wasn't on the play sheet. None of us saw that one.
Here's one for you. What is on Kevin McGivern's play sheet? I guess one thing, he's got such a rep for being so innovative, spreading people out and throwing the ball around. And we saw it last year. It led to a lot of points and a lot of touchdowns. But Parker's so good, and he wasn't that effective in the first half of the season, but he also wasn't getting the ball in the first half of the season. Once he started giving the ball 15 times a game, his numbers exploded. A bunch of 100-yard games.
They were astounding.
They were astounding. Thank you. So do you think the magic number, should he be averaging 15 carries a game, 20? At some point there's diminishing returns and backs get beat up. What's a good number as far as the number of touches he gets, whether it's – they threw it to him a little last year, but not a lot, and maybe McGivern will change that. What's the number of touches for him and number of carries for him?
I think that Coach McGivern is going to be really thoughtful about the talent he has available relative to what he wants to do on the offensive side. I don't think it's lighting up the airwaves and throwing the ball all over the place. With that in mind, I would guess that you're looking at 20 to 25 carries a game.
Ooh. Yeah, 25 seems like a lot. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean it's wrong. Just I think Ficklin gets carries. I think Dampier gets carries. Yeah, the other backs will get a few.
You're right. You're right. That's probably not taking into account other carries in the game. So, but I think we're in that. I think we're in that range. Like, to me, if we're getting 20-ish carries out of a back a game, it feels like that means something's going pretty well in that area. And I always feel like that's an advantage for any football team if you're running the ball well. So I like that. I like that number, 20-ish carries per game.
Okay. I'll keep my eye on that then. Frank has spoken. We have the number. 20-ish.
Yes.
20-ish.
20-ish.
All right, Frank.
It's a talent. I like that running back room. It's a good group.
Who's your favorite number 2 after Parker? Have you got somebody figured out? Who's the backup?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, Dampier. I mean, that's probably my favorite number 2. Like, I think he is as highly regarded he is as a runner. I still think he's underrated as a runner. Like, he has a real knack. In fact, there were times when I thought, just put Ficklin at quarterback and put Dampier at running back. Like, I think he's that talented.
Maybe we'll see that.
Could be.
Can't let then the safeties have to stay deep. They can't come up and help. Like,
nope, that's right.
The option pass is clearly a possibility. I can't be cheating.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Run the option with Ficklin at quarterback, Dampier at running back. That is a nightmare for a defense.
All right, Frank, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you every week throughout the season. Can't wait. It's almost here now.
All right, you guys are the best. Good to catch up.
There's former Ute quarterback Frank Dolce. When we come back, we're going to hear from the current head coaches, Morgan Scalley, Kalani Sitake, talking BYU and Utah next. Stay with us.
Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast! An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone else can. Friends?
I can tell you drove high.
Parents?
I can tell when you drive high.
Relatives?
I can tell. You drove here high, didn't you?
So what makes you think law enforcement can't?
I can tell.
If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, let's start with BYU. What did Kalani Sitake have to say as he met with the media? Here's Kalani.
Yeah, I thought it was it's probably a little bit more physical than we planned, but it's okay. I think we needed to work, and I think on both sides, offense and defense, we needed to work. And then, I think they got a couple guys banged up, but they'll be ready. That's the price you pay for going live and going physical in camp, and I don't know any other way to get better at football without playing it. So, we were able to avoid catastrophic injuries, but right now, the game of football it's a physical game, and it can be violent at times, especially with the way these guys play. And so, just really fortunate that we were able to get through this. But they're not 100% right now, but they should be by the time we get to the game next week.
What stood out about the scrimmage, and did the defense kind of rebound after the first?
Yeah, I thought the defense was a good answer. They answered back. That's kind of how it's been throughout all camp. I think at the beginning, defense was ahead of the offense, and then just happened that scrimmage, the offense did better in the first scrimmage. And then, they kind of went back and forth until the next scrimmage. And, I thought defense had a good answer, but it wasn't like it was all one side. Both sides done great. And in the middle of all that, special teams is breaking in the kicker and a punter and a snapper. And I think I feel really good about the third phase, too, with the kicking game. So all three phases are doing well now. We'll still take advantage of the week and a half that we have left to get ready for the season, and specifically game one.
When you talk about injuries, is anyone out for the year?
No.
Coming out of camp?
No, not for the year. Yeah, but there's some guys that'll be kind of close to the to game one, but most of the guys will be ready.
How much were you able to get Falatel Sato involved?
Oh, yeah, he's going. Yeah, we have to hold him back because he's running full speed. He's doing all that, but within the 2-week time, we want to be able to make sure that we get him to he's got to work himself into it. I think he wants to just go because he's been here the whole time and been training. But football-wise, we know what he can do. We just need to make sure that we get it so that it's right when we get to this first game, and he'll be ready to go, though.
You were asked about it. Go ahead. I was going to say, do you feel like your depth chart is filled out in camp, or do you still need positions to show they can do?
No, I think what's happened is we have way more guys that can start. We're a deep team, so we have a lot of talent, a lot of different places, and so it's just that this basically confirmed that we do have a lot of talent. And now us coaches can't mess it up. We just need to get the guys out there and find different ways to get certain players on the field, and that's going to be a challenge. But I'd rather do it that way with a bunch of guys that can play than hope that someone can get it done at a position. So right now I feel good about all our position groups, and I even feel good about where we're at in the kicking game too.
Back at Picture Day, you were asked about resources and noted that your agent would that been resolved going into the season based on what you said with your conversations you've had with your agent?
Yeah, I'm focused on the season. I'm not worried about the other stuff. Like I said, I'll let that stuff take care of itself, but I'm going to focus on the team.
Where do you think Bears improved the most in camp?
I think the hard thing for Bears, I was just talking to him yesterday about everything, and he just does not like wearing the green jersey and the, being separated, that you can't touch him, stuff like that. So it's okay. But I think he understands what we need from him. I think him and Trayson have done a great job running the offense and had sustained some drives, and we've given him a lot of different situational type of looks, and I think he's surprised me in the fact that he just seems like he knows all about his football IQ. It's already been there, but I think Tyler and A-Rod have done a great job at enhancing his knowledge and getting him to respond quickly. And so that's I think all the quarterbacks have done that. I mean, in the room. So I think it's a huge compliment to them and how they're raised, but also a compliment to the way the coaches are teaching them.
Heaven forbid something happens to Bear, right? As you mentioned, he likes to get into the contact and things. What about Trayson his game makes you confident he can win you games if called upon?
Well, Trayson had many opportunities to go other places and start at other universities. He chose to be here because of the BYU environment, because of this lifestyle, this culture here, and that's in the locker room. That's also on campus. He enjoys being a BYU student, and so and I think he understands his role. He understood that going into the season, and I think he understands more fully what he needs to do as a leader. And so he's one of the most unselfish guys I know, and so he's definitely a leader for our team, and we have a lot of confidence in him. And what he did in camp just confirms what we already know, that he can take us to wins if we need him to. And but I like the mentoring that he's giving to Bear too, and the dynamic in that room is pretty awesome.
Who are going to be the starting receivers on that first play against Utah Tech?
You'll find out when we do our depth chart, but we're going to use anywhere from 6 to 8 receivers and a bunch of different tight end groups. So even our running backs can catch the ball. So he'll have plenty of guys to catch the ball. We need him to block. That's what we need him to do. Receivers need to block first to earn the right to catch a ball.
You talked about depth, and it's something you've talked about for the last couple of years, is the depth and wanting to make sure that gets better. And obviously you're seeing that. If you go back to when BYU jumped into the Big 12 to now, is the depth, is that one of the things that you can point to as one of the things that's really stood out to you in terms of improvement from year one to where you are now?
Yeah, I think that I've been through this before when you were going from a G5 conference into a power conference. And so this move from independence into the Big 12, we've been through that. And so I had a lot of coaches on staff that have been through that, and the goal was to get to where we're at right now. So don't have a lot of excuses. We have great depth. We have a lot of talent, and we have to do our jobs as coaches to get it done. So, and then the talent happens in a lot of different ways, and I think the major way that we're able to get the talent is to develop them, and so and then find ways to give them the knowledge and the feeling that this is a family to them. And that's why Trayson Bourget decided to stay here and play here instead of go somewhere and start. He saw the value of being here and that role that he is as a backup quarterback. And so there's a lot of guys like him on this team, and I'm just honored to be their coach. So that's different than anywhere else. And if we need to, we're going to need guys only 11 guys can be on the field, but if we need more than that, we definitely have it. And but we also need the camaraderie and the connection, the brotherhood that's in the locker room for our guys to truly believe about something bigger than just themselves.
Speaking of guys that see the value in the program, maybe guys that last year redshirted, sat out, did you see any of those players that maybe going in their second year that took a jump in camp? Do you feel like they can perform endure some of those guys?
Yeah, there's a bunch of those guys. I don't know if I can just start off naming them up, but it's a full roster now. So because of the new rules, everyone can play. And I think in the past we've had to okay, which 4 games are we going to use this guy with the goal of redshirting him? Now they can play, and so that helps out on special teams. And so we did a lot of drill work, making sure that everybody knows all the positions, because Coach Jensen could really use anybody that's out there, and we plan to do that. And so the problem will be when you start getting to the roster limits in terms of travel. You only travel a certain amount to the games. So the away games are going to be the hard. Away conference games are going to be the hard ones to figure out, where you can't just have the whole roster to look at. But for what we did in camp, understanding that we utilized a bunch of different packages, a lot of different groups in there, and put different guys in different places, even on special teams, to get a look for it. And so right now I feel good about it. Now we got to transition to getting ready for the season, which is focus on Utah Tech and focus on who's going to be our starting punt team, who's going to be our backup punt team, and who are the guys that we can take from the bullpen to add in different spots.
You get the last question. You get the sense it's time to transition into game week mode. Are you the team ready to?
Yeah, I mean, they're. I think everybody will say they're sick of going against each other. So it'll be good for us to get ready for Utah Tech, and they actually have a game this weekend. So they're. I said before, a lot of improvement goes from game 1 to game 2. So they're going to have that advantage, but we'll have the advantage of watching them play. And so we'll have a lot more to go on after this weekend. And I think they play Montana State, so that'll be a good game for us to watch. And I believe they won the championship last year, so that'll be a tough matchup for them. But, I mean, for us it's good film. And more than anything, we just got to get ready. We have 12 guaranteed opportunities, and we can't squander any of them. That means we have to be ready to be at our best in game 1.
There's BYU football coach Kalani Sitake. Now here's Utah football coach Morgan Scalley.
Injury-free for the most part. We got some bumps and bruises, guys that still need to get some rehab in, but we'll be ready to go for game 1 and feel very good about where we're at in terms of depth chart and stuff like that. Stuff I won't talk to you guys about.
You guys are about 1 week out from the start of the season. What is the biggest thing left to do?
Odds and ends with some situational stuff. And, obviously now it turns from our behavior, our culture now to studying opponent film. And so, with Idaho, you're looking at Iowa State on the defensive side of the ball. You're looking at Grand Valley on the offensive side of the ball. You're trying to get any sort of information you can get from where these coaches are coming from. The good news is they'll be playing on Friday. So we'll get a really good peek at that, but just making sure you guys understand how to study film the right way. There is a process to going about it, and you really have to teach them, okay, so on control down day, first and second down, this is what you're looking at. These are the cutouts that you need to look at, and just scoring them up on that. So much more opponent work right now.
Looking back at fall camp, did you, we're ending it, did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish in fall camp?
Yes, 100%. We got depth figured out. We stayed for the most part injury-free, and we established our leadership. So that'll be, I don't know, has it been announced?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, fantastic.
Yeah,
you can see it's a big one, right? You got a big leadership council, and that's, I think, just you got a lot of guys getting a lot of votes. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. There's not one guy in that group, whether it be from the captain group or the leadership council group, that I'm sitting there going like, I don't know. Those guys are compelling. They're bringing others with them. It's a really solid group.
How do you feel about the deep defensive line depth?
Really good, really good. And you may not know why, but good to have Carson back the past couple days, and you've had a couple guys that were dinged up, and we've had to rotate and do some stuff. But really like the progress of those guys, and there may be a couple others that show up.
You talked about wanting to improve red zone efficiency during camp at one point. How has that been now that camp's over?
I'm glad I said that, because maybe they got butt hurt or something, because it's been fantastic since then. So maybe they thought I was calling them out. Man, really good the next couple days. That was fantastic. So McGibbon is a competitor, and maybe he heard that and was like, okay. No, that was good. It was, we cleaned some stuff up for sure.
Have you noticed a different energy yesterday and today, now that it's not fall camp and it's more into that game mindset?
Yeah, well, and school starts. So you get school starting and you got an academic schedule and guys are going to school. We were practicing more in the morning during fall camp, and then you're practicing in the afternoon. So it's just making sure those guys bring the same energy regardless of what time of day you're practicing. I thought for the most part we got what we, it wasn't a real, today was our more physical practice, kind of planned for the first day of school being something that you gotta, okay, let's get started with some opponent work, nothing too taxing, but today was a grinder for them. It was really good.
Morgan, you guys have one of the more unique players in college football in Semi. I guess, what can he bring to this team?
Oh, man. Yeah, well, you talk about the safeties being versatile. This is a guy that can play smash mouth football. He can block on the edge. He can run routes. He can catch the ball. Obviously, in high school, he was a defensive tackle. So there's a lot that this guy can do. Sione, the guy I don't want everyone to sleep on is Sione Motuapuaka. That guy is, just as valuable as Semi is. And for the exact same reasons, just the versatility of what we're able to do with him. And so can't say enough about those guys, plus the fact that they're team guys. They're guys that were recruited at one position, asked now to play a different position, and didn't bat an eye doing it. I love those guys. Love it. Because I didn't do that. I was asked to move to safety, and I was like, what? No. Wish I had thought about that sooner.
Morgan, with tackling, that's been like a reoccurring topic going back to spring. Just how have you assessed the team in that area as you guys inch closer to the season?
Spring ball was one that we got more tackling in spring ball than we ever have. Fall camp was tackling early on, but you're trying to mix it in and trying to get to the party healthy. There's some guys that we certainly trust, and then other guys that if we feel like they need continued tackling work, that's going to be more in a controlled setting with scout team players, but you got to do it. You got to do it. This is, we don't go out there on Saturdays and play tag.
Here's Utah football coach Morgan Scalley. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
It's tough. I thought, they gave us some good looks. They were playing with their hair on fire, I'll say that. We definitely, if this was a full game, I don't think we would have come out on the winning side of it. So just a little eye-opening. Got to get back and watch the tape. It's never as good or as bad as you think it is, but I think from my standpoint, they out-physicaled us, and that's never what you want to have. So doesn't matter who we have out there. You want guys that are going to do their very best to be the more physical team and want it more. And I don't know if we did that today. So the tape will tell. But yeah.
Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield after a joint practice against the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't go well for the Bucs.
See, for me in my life, I certainly agree with half of what he said. It's never as good as it seems, but usually it's worse.
That's just how you roll through life?
Well, I mean, you evaluate the evidence, you look at the film, and then, yeah, that really sucked. A lot worse than I thought.
How good is Jacksonville? From a 4-win team to a 13-win team, a massive turnaround for them last season. Can they stay at the top of the division?
Once they got rid of Party Boy, they were good to go.
They picked up speed.
Once Urban
had to shake that off.
Yeah, he had to shake off a lot of things.
Hey-o! Raiders Clint Kubiak getting all mysterious. Aston Genty's on the mend. Did he hurt his ankle? He's on the mend. He's basically on to Cincinnati right there. He's channeling his inner Belichick.
Speaking of which, I know this is college, but I did see a blurb from Kyle Whittingham. We're not going to release a depth chart. Why would I release a depth chart? The games travel.
Yep. Worked in Salt Lake City. Might as well give it a shot in Ann Arbor. We should have a little seminar for the media there. We could bring them up to speed. Here's a few more things to expect. Here's a few things you're going to hear.
And then he does acknowledge, Oklahoma will know who we play anyway because we play.
We're going to play the first game.
Whatever, I forget who they play. Some dog team or somebody.
Yeah.
And so then they'll have it all on tape. But Kyle's being Kyle. You got to admire his consistency.
Bengals Jamar Chase says he's fine after an injury scare that cut his practice short on Tuesday. Nothing to see here, no worries. Vikings, Deshaun Jones suspended 3 games for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. So he'll be out. And for the 49ers, no problem. Not going to impact the team. 49ers owner Jed York used a pseudonym, responded multiple times to a fictitious ad for a prostitute prior to his arrest in Ohio over the weekend, according to an incident report obtained Tuesday by ESPN. But 49ers coach, not going to impact the players, not going to impact the squad. They're going to keep doing what they do, and on they go. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Yeah, I don't worry too much about that. I think as you talk about villains, sometimes the difference between the hero and the villain isn't very far apart, and it changes very often. I see your wrestling stuff there, so I referred to Hulk Hogan before.
Hell yeah,
he's
brother.
A villain, then a hero, then a villain, then a hero again, and then a villain. So, it happens sometimes. And, when you're trying to do things at the highest level, a lot of times people want you to apologize for what you're doing when you're chasing greatness. And that's what we do here as a program. That's how we run it. And our players know that. And I think our fans and administration, wherever been, they love it when you're there. And so they understand that you're doing the best for their program at the time so that they can win and they can have everything that they want and they're wanting to have on Saturdays.
That's Lane Kiffin on being a villain in college football, doing everything you can so they can win on Saturday.
Just say we are trying to win at all costs. Next question. I don't need a lecture or a rambling statement. We're just trying to win at all costs. I'm driving in this morning, and Joey McGuire, they asked him, the Texas Tech coach, about what motivation, because you picked first, you were first last year. Well, there's a lot of people in the conference had a lot of things to say about the Sorsby situation. So now you're the victim on that?
Yes, I am.
I want one person on this planet saying, I will not ever play the victim. You don't get, everybody wants to be the victim.
Big Ten won't allow football players to return from the NFL. Now the SEC's drawn up a rule to stop NFL, NBA, and WNBA players from returning from their respective pro leagues. And Yahoo's got a story that the ACC and Big 12 are considering the move. I've seen reports the Big 12 could move as soon as today or tomorrow.
No,
so
McGuire said they're meeting today.
Okay.
And so he said he expects that to happen today. But they've got standards at Texas Tech. They're not scouting guys who played in preseason games. They're just scouting the ones who've been cut before the games.
Okay, yeah, see, they're standards. Draw a line in the sand.
And the university's enrollment is up 2,000 people because I'm doing everything possible to win games. So I owe it to them
to keep winning games,
to go around the rules if possible. And he said he's won a team that's player-led. Yeah, well, in this case, it's ex-player-led. Cody Campbell.
Austin Atala, a top 10 offensive tackle in 2028, commits to Texas Tech. So they got a recruiting battle right there they're winning. And we're getting closer because they're naming more quarterbacks.
It's not a recruiting battle. It's a money battle.
Duke and Vandy have named their starting quarterbacks too, so on we go. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Just the opportunity to play high-level basketball throughout the season, a chance to make a deep postseason run. Those things were so attractive to me, and obviously you want to maximize your earning potential as an athlete, but I've tasted winning before, and there's really nothing like it. And it's even just even getting there and failing is better than not even having a shot at it. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying the opportunity to win again at a very high level was so attractive to me, and it looked, looking at the roster, it looked like a great fit as far as, me being able to space the floor and attack from the perimeter and have great help defenders behind me. And especially at this stage of my career, I get to play a specific role, and my voice will go a long way, hopefully, with this team, and just to lead by example.
Klay Thompson going to Miami to play for the Heat, and there are all his reasons why to settle in with Miami.
I agree with him. There's a better chance to win there than Dallas right now.
Yep. Golden State Warriors signed former Jazzman George Niang. He gets 1 year and $3.9 million. They also picked up Brandon Williams for 1 year and $2.6 million, and that fills up their 15-man roster. And Lonzo Ball says he regrets how much control his father had early in his Lakers tenure. Just saying the quiet part out loud there. A lot of people.
Well, some of it was the shoes. Just saying the shoes weren't NBA quality. And I think that's part of the problem
with the injuries.
Yeah, I read the longer piece on it of what he was talking about. Yeah, I mean, if your shoes don't work, that's a problem. But he's been out and he's been injured this whole time. So good news for the Utah Stars though. Taylor Funk is coming back. Stars acquired Funk's NBA G League rights from the San Diego Clippers in exchange for guards Max Abmas and forward Daniel Bacho. We're getting the Funk man back, turning up the funk.
Sweet. More funk is a good thing.
He played at Utah State for a season, as you know.
Yes, I do.
The Funk man.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Uses. Ryan Waldschmidt way back to left field, and the Cubs comeback is complete.
8th inning. Driven down the line, and Cruz has given the Pirates the lead. How about that for a big home run? No one's done it in a year except for O'Neal Cruz. The Pirates on top in San Diego.
Hunter Goodman. This ball barreled down the line. Cal Raleigh has returned.
Cal Raleigh homering in 4 straight at-bats over 2 games. He had the 3 homers later in the game on Monday, and then he opens up Tuesday's game, his first at-bat, by going deep again.
Cal Poly is back.
Cal Poly.
And so many people went home disgusted in the desert last night.
Disgusted in the desert?
Yeah, because the Diamondbacks won. Not that they were disgusted that they won, but the majority of the people were Cub
fans. Yeah.
And Clay Holmes just cruising along. Shutout, 7 innings, 93 pitches. Got to take him out.
And then, boom, goes the dynamite.
Got to take him 93. You can't go 94. His arm might fall off.
3 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, 7 shutout innings. That's wonderful, but oh well.
One of them was with the 2-out rally in the 8th where they scored 3. They had guys on first and second, and Marino, the catcher, is batting. Check swing, right-handed batter. Check swing. More than a little roller, but not much more. Mm-hmm. But it hits the first base bag.
Nah.
And that scores a run. And then took a bat ricochet, so this guy's second and third, and then a single, and then Waldschmidt hits the 2-out, 2-run home run. That's the one he did. I told you earlier in the month when I texted my sister. He hit against the Dodgers. So he hit a 2-out home run in the bottom of the 9th. So he's got 2 in 3 weeks. He was pinch hit too, no less.
Total oddity, Cubs had scored 30 runs unanswered, 19 in a row, and their 19-2 win, then a 7-0 shot of the Diamondbacks. And they were up 4-0, and then it's just a footnote because they blow the game in the 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
Paul Skeens comes back, velocity up, 6 shutout innings versus San Diego. The game is scoreless going to the 9th, and the Padres' ace closer, Mason Miller, gets taken deep. You heard that highlight in there. Pirates win 1-0. Diamondbacks move within a game of the last wild card spot.
Don't worry, they still got it.
Phillies also get beat. So Diamondbacks picking up a game on both teams as the Mariners, with that Cal Poly homer, beat the Phillies 4-1. Salt Lake Bees beaten in Tacoma. Oddly, they've now lost 12 straight games over 3 series in Tacoma. They'll try again tonight. You hit that game right here on the Zone. DJ and PK.
#BYU.
No, I think what's happened is we have way more guys that can start. I mean, we're a deep team, so we have a lot of talent, a lot of different places, and so it's just that this basically confirmed that we do have a lot of talent. And now us coaches can't mess it up. You know, we just need to get the guys out there and find different ways to get certain players on the field, and that's going to be a challenge. But I'd rather do it that way with a bunch of guys that can play than hope that someone can get it done at a position. So right now I feel good about all our position groups, and I even feel good about where we're at in the kicking game too.
There's head coach Kalani Sitake. Positivity. That kind of references what you were talking about, PK. If you don't get the money, then you don't have the players, and there's less pressure. If they do give you the money, then the coaches have to not mess it up.
Well, I wanted him to say, we've got 11 offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah, one up?
Yeah. Since Jordan Gross said they had 10. I mean, that was part of the deal with the Whittingham, with the money. I mean, he heard what Sitake was getting. And he ends up getting $13.5 million to go. He didn't get the $9 million. He got better than that.
Kalani saying several freshmen good enough to play. Got any feel for who the impact guy might be? Who's going to break through for BYU?
Well, I think given the receiver situation with Kingston and Roberts gone, I think Isaiah Glasker's cousin, Legend Glasker, is first and foremost on the list. The opportunity, you got to have the opportunity. You can be a great freshman, but if you got guys ahead of you,
yeah, if you got Bachmeier or LJ in front of you, what are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
And so the situation, I think, allows itself for him to get out on the field more so than you would have thought. But we know the Kingston situation. Obviously, Roberts had expired his eligibility there, so that was going to be that case. So we'll see what the young man can do. And, yeah, great. If you get the opportunity to play, go ahead. Running back, they got another kid out of Lehigh. But I'm not sure that he's going to get a lot of opportunity this year. Hopefully he doesn't, because that means LJ is healthy. Nothing against the kid, but I think LJ's your guy and going to be an NFL back. So you want him to be exploited as much as possible.
After a career-threatening injury, BYU Sione Moa just grateful for the chance to play football again.
Yeah, and he's the other guy, too.
Yeah.
They missed last year. He was gone for a majority of the season.
Compartment syndrome, not something you hear a lot about, but brutal to have it. Excessive internal bleeding.
Well, until we moved to Utah, I had apartment syndrome because I couldn't afford a house. It's one of the reasons why we moved here. That and the chance for me to be loved by the people. He doesn't have the drops yet, El Capitan, or else he would say paycheck is why I moved to Utah.
He'll get it down. DJ and PK.
#Utah.
I'm glad I said that because maybe they got butt hurt or something because it's been fantastic since then. So maybe they thought I was calling them out. Man, really good the next couple days. That was fantastic. So McGibbon is a competitor, man. Maybe he heard that and was like, okay. No, that was good. It was, we cleaned some stuff up for sure.
Morgan Scalley on the offense responding to red zone struggles. Don't want to be kicking field goals, want to be scoring touchdowns.
Unless you're down by 2 with a second to go.
There are rare exceptions, yes. Utah named 6 captains. They put 15 players on the Leadership Council for 2026. Quarterback Devin Dampier, captain. Running back Wayshawn Parker. Offensive lineman Alex Harrison. Linebackers Jonathan Hall and Trey Reynolds. And safety Nate Ritchie. Selected by their teammates as Utah's captains for 2026.
You're watering it down, though.
With 6?
Yeah.
To be an offensive captain, a defensive captain. Maybe you have a third one, a special teams captain, but that's it.
I mean, now, who gets to yell, bring it in? You're going to have conflicting voices.
Bring it in, bring it in.
Yeah, I mean.
What if one guy's standing on the numbers and the other guy's standing on a hash mark? Where do you bring it in? You got multiple captains. Call me in multiple
everybody
spots.
knows that it's time to bring it in anyway, so it's not really needed. I think we're getting a junior high-ish now with 6 captains.
DJ and PK.
#RSL.
To head that, and he had it on frame. There's another ball in and a header to the far post. And Club Leon strikes again. It's Sebastian Vegas. The outside back scores. We'll have to see a replay, but he did now jump everyone. I don't know if he was particularly well marked there. We'll have to see, but it is now 2-0. Club Leon. Club Leon in possession. RSL with some high pressure here, trying to win the ball back. Club Leon switches the point of attack to the near side. There's a 40-yard ball up towards midfield. A little flick forward to Cambindo. Back to Beltran, back to the goal scorer. Around the keeper's off his line. Open goal, he rolls it in, and it's 3-0. Cambindo scores again. Round Salt Lake, a little short on the would-haves, the could-haves, and the should-haves. There were a couple opportunities to tie the game 1-1, but Club Leon was in control for most of the game. They get the shutout. They advance to the Leagues Cup semifinals. RSL just not up to the task. Looking a little tired at times. Got beat in transition. Pablo Mastroeni said, asked what they do best. He said, Club Leon's really dangerous in transition. Sure enough, 2 goals in transition and the other off a corner kick. And RSL will now go back into MLS play after 8 games in 25 days. They don't have to play until Saturday, so they don't get a full week, but most of a week here to get ready for a game at Colorado.
So you think they were tired? Was that
Oh, they looked tired at times. And also, I don't think they were good enough, and that combination is why you end up losing by 3 goals.
Because I read on Twitter a complete organizational failure from top to bottom from RSL. Wow.
That a fan or a media member?
Both, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. It was a beating. I get why people were not happy and were critical after that. That was a lot of one-way traffic there. A lot of bad moments. And then when they did get that opportunity, they sent a couple of really good crosses through the 6-yard box. And there was once everybody's flat-footed. Nobody really even seemed to get within 5 yards of a ball. Noel Callis.
They didn't get in for the 5 yards of the 6-yard.
Didn't get within 5 yards of the ball. The other one, Salons just barely missed, but missed it nonetheless. Still probably wouldn't have been enough. It was pretty decisive.
Yeah.
DJ and PK.
#golf.
Great thing about golf is it's a meritocracy, and basically you earn what you earn. And I think whatever we do for whatever player, if you've been on the tour before or haven't been on the tour before, you're going to have to earn it, right? And so you're going to have to earn your way back. And then second, look, we're a membership organization. We don't have a collective bargaining agreement. These guys are under contract at the tour, but what we do have is rules. That's how we keep the whole thing together. And if we didn't have those rules, all this great things we're talking about, a tour championship and all these events, we couldn't put on for fans and our partners. So because they're rules, that holds everything together. And if you violate those rules, there'll be consequences. So what those will be, I don't know. We've been very public. Those guys that are under contract, I don't know when they're not going to be under contract. If they can demonstrate that they're no longer on a contract, then we'll have a conversation. But that really hasn't been the conversation. That hasn't been the case yet.
That's Brian Rolap. How will guys return from the Live Tour? What seems like the inevitable end, collapse of it here? TBD. It's a meritocracy, but it's not.
They'll fly to the event. They'll get a courtesy car. They'll drive to the golf tournament. They'll warm up.
They'll pay their $5 or $10 million in charitable fines.
I think the public will want them to come back. At least some of them, like DeChambeau.
John Rahm and DeChambeau. Those are the two biggest names.
You keep talking about wanting the best players to play. Well, these guys are the best players. Part of them. There's a collection of them, and we know their names. So, roll-up. I mean, he went a long way to say, I'm not sure what the heck he said. But he's a BYU grad, too.
Yep.
Did you know that, El Capitan?
I did know that, yeah.
Yeah. You don't like BYU, right?
I'm impartial to all teams.
Oh, no, I was talking to DJ.
BYU, the PGA's Tour is going to have a match play event to conclude for the championship. Can you have that? Is this ever going to work?
Well,
in 2028.
You know, I listened to the Golf Channel yesterday, and they were talking about it extensively.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see, because I don't know. I just want to get a feel for it.
how is it conducted? Who's playing? What do we got going? I mean, they're making all these changes. Can they be better? I've always said that as far as leagues, in this case the tour, making changes like the NBA Cup. It does jack squat for me. But I don't have any problem with them trying. Because how are you going to know unless you try? Now, you don't want to try something and make it way worse. I understand that. But you got to keep up with the times. And so rather than say, oh, I don't know, man, blah, 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 I'm just going to see how it is, and I'm going to entertain it, and I'm going to consume it when it gets around. God willing, I'm still alive. And if that's the case, I may end up saying, yeah, that was really cool, particularly if it's compelling. If it's not, it's like I can watch whatever if it's compelling. So how do I know?
I guess the only reason you would know is that they tried match play before as a world championship event, and they didn't think they necessarily got the best players, the most marketable players out on the course for the semis and the final.
Well, it's golf, so you just don't know.
I know, that's exactly it. And that's why declaring a playoff and having a champion at the end of the year, well, the 4 majors have pretty much decided that. And even in a major, someone can come and be the 80th best player, 80th ranked player in the world, and win their only tournament of the year and, win the PGA or the Open Championship or whatever. And we accept that, but now to create something like this, I think you're going to have a similar deal. They're going to keep it to the top 32 golfers, so you can't come from too far off the radar. But nonetheless. Yeah. But it's going to be a World Cup. They're going to put them in pools of 4. You're going to have 3 match play, and then the top 2 will advance, and they may have to have tiebreakers. Yeah.
The one thing I don't want is I don't want the western portion of the tour eliminated, because I've been to all those places, and the weather sucks here at this time. And I turned it on, and just to torture myself to watch it, thinking, why did I leave? I was at multiple places, and I left both of them. And now I'm here where it's lousy weather. And so, I would like to see that continue, but we'll see how it shakes out.
All right, there are your headlines. That's what's trending. Sponsored by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Former Aggie quarterback Riley Jensen joins us 8 o'clock. Former BYU Cougar and New York Giant Bryan Kehl coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll talk college football with them. And it's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We got tickets to see Motley Crue at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. We've also got a family 4-pack of tickets to Wings and Wheels coming to Spanish Fork Airport Saturday, September 26th. That is all ahead. We'll give those away in the 8 and 9 o'clock hours. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. Question of the morning, USA Today listing the starting prices for all of Notre Dame's games this season. The BYU game tops the list at $564, followed by the Miami game at $493. What is your limit? Andrew, $50 per person. LOL. Andrew knows that's going to be low for college football.
That might get you into the tailgate.
Yeah. Scotty says, $250, buy the tickets day of, and I bet you get in. He's going to wait them out. He thinks the prices are going to crash.
In this particular game? Mm-hmm. I don't know about that. I've done...
Day of?
Yeah.
Have you ever waited till the game started and watched the prices crash, even if you missed the start of the game? Because that's really when they crash.
Not games, but I did it one time to a concert. And the guy was asking for like $300. Mm-hmm. And I said, I give you $50. And he looked at me. And I was by myself. I was on a road trip. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I'll be standing over here.
Yeah, that's the exact line Jay used.
and I'll wait. And sure enough, the concert was supposed to start at 8 or whatever. And it was like 15 minutes later. And the guy comes over to me, okay. And then I'm notorious for not carrying a lot of cash. And I honestly had no idea what I had in my wallet. And I look in there, I got like $10. I said, well, come with me over to the ATM. So he did. And I got the $50, gave it to him. And then the performer took about 15 minutes to get out. So as I'm walking in, 7th row.
They're just starting?
So I missed nothing.
Nice.
Yeah. It was dark. You know, they dim the lights when the artists come out. So I've done that. I've done really close to game time. Maybe the first half inning. So I probably have. But sometimes they'll just hold, if they've made a bunch of money, they'll just wait it out. So you never really know. I don't think this BYU game, that's going to be the case unless you want second quarter. But, you know, what's the point of that?
Saving money and being able to afford to get in, I guess, would be the point. David says, agreed, $50.
Right, but if it's going to be that big of a deal for you, then you probably shouldn't spend the money in the first place.
Right, stay home and watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Kirk says prices are ridiculous here.
Yeah.
The Mammoth, the Salt Lake Bees, now BYU, they are pricing out the common man.
Well, it's Notre Dame. I don't know that it's BYU.
Because not all the Cougar games are this expensive.
Right. So, but it does cost to go to these games. Yeah, I get it. And I can sympathize greatly. I'm in a position where, you know, if I want to go, I'm going to go within reason. But my reason is going to be, that line is going to be much higher than a lot of folks, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm sure if my parents knew some of the stuff that I spent money on, they would roll over. And both of them were cremated, so they can't roll over.
Don says my season tickets total about $75 per game, including chairbacks. $564, that's just not in the budget. I've spoken to some BYU fans who are considering selling their Notre Dame tickets to fund their entire season ticket cost. What kind of loyal Cougar fan would do that? Blasphemy much?
Somebody who wants the money.
Yes,
And,
who needs it.
That's an interesting thing. Well, if you needed it, you wouldn't have been spending it on the tickets in the first place, my guess would be. Would you, if you're a BYU administration, would you rather have them sell for the Notre Dame game and then be there for every other game, or be there for the Notre Dame game?
How many administrators do you think would say, well, it depends on who they're selling to?
Well, yeah, but assuming you're going to sell them to a non-BYU fan.
To an Irish fan?
Well, of course. If you're selling them to a BYU fan, then the question is not applicable. I wouldn't have said that. If you're going to sell it to
they can totally live with that.
A friendly, then yeah. Then how much does that really matter? You know, there'll be a significant amount of Notre Dame fans, because there always are.
They have their ways.
Yeah, and they're just...
And Cougar fans will sell.
So, but you'll have, even if it's 50-50, isn't that enough? I mean, I've been on the road with BYU plenty of times, and they're greatly outnumbered. But if they make a play, you hear them.
It's significant. Right?
And it actually fires up the...
home fans.
Not the home fans. I'm talking about the players, the BYU players.
Oh, the Cougar players hear it. Absolutely.
You hear them talking about it all the time, especially guys who are not Latter-day Saints and haven't been exposed to it. And then they go to...
They've transferred in
literally all parts of the country. I've been with these guys. And they come in, and Retzlaff used to talk about it all the time. It's a home game wherever we go. He's literally said that multiple times, because he was the quarterback and he was being interviewed after every game. He talked about it at the SMU game. Yeah, I mean, and when they had the missionaries come marching down, it was a procession. It was like the 24th of July parade, and there's looked like thousands, probably 200 maybe, but it just looked like it was a big army, and we're outside there, and it's over by, they got, who's the one stud that at SMU they got years ago, is the statue of him. So we're all out there, and they hear these missionaries come, and they're in the missionary garb, and And the SMU people are blown away. They're talking about it. I can hear them. I'm standing right there. I get one guy says, man, they all look alike. Is it Sammy Ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got a big statue of him, and it's outside the stadium. It's really cool, kind of like a fountain area. And so that fires up the crowd. So the point being that there'll be enough Notre Dame fans in there, irregardless, to fire them up, the Notre Dame folk, but there'll be BYU people. Then you try to outshout the other team's fans, and so either way. But I find it fascinating that it's the BYU game is higher priced than the Miami game.
That is surprising.
The Miami game is in South Bend. I'm about 95% sure. So is it people from this side of the country thinking, hey, if I'm from California, northern or southern, that I get to see Notre Dame, and it's a shorter trip. I don't have to go all the way to South Bend or all those ACC games that they play, or whomever, wherever. And so here it's an hour plus flight, and so it'll save on the transportation costs, will be cheaper, whatever it might be. And so they're just figuring, I'm going. This is my chance. And if I got to pay $400 a ticket, I'm going to do it. Because it could be like the only time I'm going to do it. I couldn't afford it every week.
No,
but
yeah,
one
I
time
get it.
Maybe.
But for Irish fans who are saying, hey, I live wherever and I get to pick off one game, for a lot of fans, this will be the close one. Their other road games are Purdue, which is in the state of Indiana. They go to North Carolina and Syracuse. So it's the only time that they're coming west.
Right.
Usually they'd have a USC or a Stanford game every year, but
I think Stanford is keeping the deal, and this is SC's year.
Right. This would be the year to go to L.A.
Yeah.
Stanford's going back to South Bend. So to your point, if you're anywhere on the western side of the country, this is the more convenient game. So maybe that's helping drive things up.
That's the only reason why I could think of, because, Miami's a national program, and they're obviously
they're coming off a big year.
Restored what they've been able to do in the past a little bit. That is something, though. That price is way up there. I do cringe after I have to pay over $200 for a concert. I've done it a few times.
But it turns the stomach a little bit. What are we doing here?
Somehow it's easier to do it now that I've gotten older. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is I've got fewer days ahead of me than I have behind.
Mm-hmm.
And, they say...
Why not? You're going to make... If it brings you joy and you're going to make a memory and you got the money...
And for me, I do it because it's 2 hours I don't think about other stuff. And I tend to think about other stuff outside of working hours, except when I'm playing for golf. And then I'm worried about the shot and then screaming at myself a good one. So golf and concerts are the stuff that really takes my mind off other stuff.
You were making birdies yesterday. You were feeling it. Dialed in.
River Oaks plays to my strength because it's nice and short. And my age and all, we play for the Whites in the men's league. So I've got a shot there. But I think I spoke with the Eagles the other day, and those are 300. That's about my limit. The problem with me is that when it comes to golf, times 2, because there ain't no way she's letting me play Pebble Beach by myself.
You're just gonna have to do it. You're just gonna have to. When you think you're going to retire, work an extra month and then just take that money and just go to Pebble Beach and do it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes down the pike as far as that goes. If it's there, can't take it with you.
I have a friend who lives here, and he went to school at Cal Poly. And he's got a college buddy who's got a birthday with ends in a 0 or 5. I forget which one it is. And so the wife, for the birthday gift, got him the guy's golf trip, and they're going to go play Pebble and Spyglass. It's apparently the second time they've done it. So put it for some special occasion, write it off to that. don't spend money on other gifts or whatever you would for that occasion. Somehow that seems to minimize the you just got to turn your head and pay the money.
I know. That's what my wife will
fine.
do. Oh, it's for Father's Day. It's like October. No, it's not.
It's your Christmas gift to each other. We're going to Pebble and we're playing.
I know.
And then just don't buy other stuff for Christmas.
Yeah, but then it doesn't work.
Because then she buys some. Well, I just want you to have something.
You got to have something for Christmas morning. You got to have something. But you don't.
We've done that before. I know exactly how it works.
I don't.
We weren't getting anything, and now you got me
I
something.
don't concoct reasons. If I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy it. It's not. I'm not going to attach it to some distant
birthday.
holiday or a special occasion. That seems so silly, because then if I can afford to do that, then I could probably afford a pair of pants.
So wait for football season to end. You'll hit your birthday and Christmas and just go do it.
Or as El Capitan would say, pantalones.
That's great Spanish, PK.
I had a little bit of Spanish for a while, but a lot of it's gone away. Circumstances in my life changed.
All right, DJ and PK, when we come back, a national treasure. The tributes pour in. We'll get to that next. You've all got memories. That's clear. Stay with us. We'll get to that next right here on The Zone.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
The mighty dollar. Once upon a time, it had a whole menu named after it. No more. But $1 a day lets you add Progressive Renter's Insurance to your auto insurance. Definitely something your younger self would roll their eyes at, but your current adulting self appreciates. Learn more at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Average premium cost based on Progressive home data from 2025. Product and prices may vary by state.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty Jr., the coach, Friday from 10 to 2 at Tim Dolly Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. A little Dolly Parton, 9 to 5, the song, the hit movie. She passes away at the age of 80, and the tributes flow freely. Where does she rank on your all-time list? Steve Johnson says somewhere between 9th and 5th. See what he did there?
Yeah, 9 to 5. I got it.
Dave, well, which list? Singing great, personality great, sense of humor hilarious, songwriting genius, philanthropy saintly,
celebrity,
glowing, smiling.
Celebrity list. I think she's literally as high as you can get. There'll be others that can match it, but I don't think anybody tops her. I think if you walk in any city in this country, maybe internationally, I don't know. I've never been to Europe and South America and so forth. But I think you go to any city in America, any town, have you heard of Dolly Parton? Do you know who Dolly Parton is?
And the answer is going to be yes.
I think it's 98%. Yeah. Even whether you like her as an actress, whether you like her as a personality, Dolly World, a singer, whatever, you have heard of. She was a flamboyant, charismatic gal, and wildly talented, of course. But just as an overall entertainer / personality, I don't see how you get higher.
Jen is with you as a celebrity number one. She's a great example and a true inspiration.
Yeah.
Gary, she was a gem, the real queen of country music.
Except I think she goes way beyond country music.
Because we've been over that. I'm not big into country music, and I absolutely knew who Dolly Parton was, and she made me laugh in dozens of interviews.
Right.
They were running clips of her just being hilarious with Johnny Carson on social media. She did a whole thing where she has a guitar. She's just sitting there. She's not in stage performing. She's sitting in that desk next to, Carson, who's hosting his own show, obviously, and she's playing the guitar and she sings a song. She says, now, if you put it on 78, and she plays the song again really fast in a really high voice, and you can recognize all the lyrics, it was hilarious. And it took a massive amount of talent to pull that off. And the audience was going wild for it. They thought it was great.
When you think about it, really all we are is islands in the stream.
Sing it.
That is what we are. An entertainer supreme, a personality of the highest order. And she was always uplifting. If you had an opportunity to be around her, which I have not, it seemed like it was always a good time.
Jared says, the GOAT, jersey retired.
Okay. Yeah. It would, in certain areas have to be a bigger jersey.
Hey, Weston says she's on the best celebrity Mount Rushmore with Fred Rogers, Steve Irwin, and Bob Ross.
Okay. That's an interesting list.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd have her on there. I've got no problem with her on there. The others, it's a personal choice.
William says to look up Dolly's top 10 list on David Letterman. It's hilarious.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'll have to do that.
Everything she did.
Yeah. Yeah, she got a lot of laughs. She knew how to play it all for laughs.
Yeah. And for many, many years, decades. It's amazing. What a life.
Yeah.
There's not much more you could say. Everybody's got to go, and it's sad that she had to go. But all the stuff that she accomplished, all the joy that she brought to people, and seemed personable along the way, it's just amazing. I think she is right there with anybody you can name. Elvis, yeah. Obviously, his life was cut way short. Michael Jackson, yeah. Name them. Throw anybody at me, and I could say she belongs right there.
Yeah. Cindy says, singer, songwriter, philanthropist, movie star. She was great in everything. Big red heart emoji, and will be sorely missed.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I would agree with that, yeah. Like Dolly Parton. Plus, an unusual name, Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
And that name seemed to fit her.
Yes, it did. It did. She never took herself too seriously. She seemed to go through life with kind of a smile and wink like, this is great. Can you believe this?
There's no way she was going to be like Agnes Jones.
Agnes.
Yeah, just not flying.
Encore. Hey, Agnes. One more. Let's go. Whoa.
Now, Angus Young, maybe from AC/DC.
Ethel?
It's another story. No.
No.
Maxine.
Ruth?
No. Nothing wrong with Ruth.
It's good because I got multiple aunts named Ruth. It was very confusing,
I got a stepmother-in-law named Ruth.
Yeah. 3 Aunt Ruths. Which one you talking about?
And, oh yeah, I had an Aunt Ruth on the other side. My Uncle Sonny married Ruth. And she was Irish, a little bit of scandal at the time. My Uncle Sonny, who was stranded at sea in the big one for 5 days.
Be a heck of a story, but he didn't talk about it.
But it had to be Dolly. And hello, Dolly. And now it's goodbye, Dolly. And it's universally, we're going to miss you, Dolly.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
DJ PK, when we come back, Riley Jensen, former Aggie quarterback, joins us next. We'll talk college football on the precipice of the season with Riley. Stay with us.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on the scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, does this just bug you? Just everything about your New Jersey roots? The New Jerseyness of your attitude, all this positivity before football? everybody's all upbeat, and we know people are going to lose a bunch of games, but right now everybody's undefeated and talking about it like it's going to be wonderful.
Well, I care first and foremost about the two teams here. And then everything is secondary to that. And I get why they would have a level of positivity. Now, I also care about Utah State, and I'm going to pay attention for Weber. My guy's coaching there. I've got no problem saying that.
Eric Kerr.
Yeah, and so I want him to do very well. And but the teams that we focus on literally the most, I get why they're saying it. They had excellent seasons last year. As I've said, Utah's was the most overlooked 11-2 season in the history of 11-2 seasons. It seemed like it was chopped liver, and they went 11-2. It was awesome as far as I'm concerned, and they've returned a lot of folks. I mean, they got a bunch of newness, so that is a concern. BYU doesn't have a whole lot of newness, and they got a lot of guys back. And with that in mind, they lost Jay Hill and Guilford. Other than that, they lost a few players, but that's always going to happen. But the bulk of the team is coming back, so that should lead you to a level of optimism that is realistic. And everybody has optimism this time of year. It's just a question of, is it realistic?
And it should be the case with the Cougars. I mean, that was a good year. It's like you said, they got so many of those pieces back. I guess that's why everyone's obsessing about the wide receivers, because that's the one spot.
Well, you got to go to something. Nothing is perfect.
Right. Well, and there is the risk of having, if they had even more back then, there's just the risk of being stale. You need a challenge. You need a.
Well, they got a challenge. They didn't make the playoff. They got killed both times by Texas Tech. They got creamed. They got embarrassed. I can go on and on. I can list all the words.
Go through the thesaurus, baby.
Right? And the one in Lubbock was bad, but the one in Arlington was worse because the stakes were much higher and you got a second chance.
It'll be different this time around.
And it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was worse. Considering what was at stake, it was a laugher or a crier. You never hear that. You always hear a laugher. I want to bring about a crier. That was a crier.
DJ PK, and we're joined now by Riley Jensen, the former Utah State quarterback. Riley, good morning.
What's happening, fellas?
Talking football, preseason, the expectations so high, so much positivity. You want to put your shoulder to that positivity and keep pushing that positivity, or you want to temper some expectations with everything you've been hearing through camp?
Every year at this time of year, like everybody's undefeated, everybody's excited, everybody's, everything's going to be great. BYU's receivers are incredible. University of Utah receivers are incredible. We hear this every year, and every year there is some things that let us down. I mean, we've had some good years recently, but man, I think there's pause for a lot of things. I'm worried about the offensive line at the University of Utah. I'm worried about the receivers at BYU. I'm worried about a quarterback at Utah State who's very athletic, but maybe can't make it through a season or hasn't shown us that he can make it through a season yet. So, yeah, there's things that we need to temper our expectations with. I think there's no question about that.
If you're Kevin McGivern coming in from Utah State to Utah, we've been hearing about some stuff, he's going to put his imprint on it. If I'm a fan of the Utes, I want his imprint to be much like Jason Beck's imprint because that offense was explosive last year. Why would you try to change things up when what you have worked at a very high level?
Well, I think it's impossible. Look, you and I have talked about this on air and off air, PK. I think the most important thing for Jason McGivern or with Kevin McGivern is to be authentic to who he is. Look, the offense at Utah State last year was very similar to what the University of Utah ran. I mean, the pick farmer was running all over the field. He was making good throws. He wasn't making, every throw in the book. But I thought the offense was very similar, at a Utah State level to the University of Utah. So yeah, I think his impressions is going to be on the offense because he's going to be authentic to himself, not necessarily because he's trying to be Jason Beck. Here's what I worry about at the University of Utah. Everybody's talking about the wide receivers and how great that is. And I heard you guys talking to my nemesis. I don't like to say his name. Hello, Frank. But
nice.
He
that's Frank Dolce.
He was talking about how, throwing down the field is not Dan Pierce's biggest thing, but I think one thing that I'm worried about with the University of Utah is not can they replace receivers, not can they do the things that they're going to want these receivers to do, but I felt like J.J. Buchanan last year really worked himself into a position where he could be a really, really big-time player for the Utes that made key clutch plays. He wasn't a burner. He was almost like a tight end wide receiver, Shannon Sharp type receiver who was so good. And I think back to, my best year ever playing college football was at Snow College my sophomore year. It was the only thing in my life where I wasn't just bang average at something. And I had Kevin Curtis, who played in the league for 10 years. He could get over the top of defenses, but I had two guys. I had a guy who was my tight end named James Tamalpeo, who ended up at the University of Utah, and my wide receiver named Lance Mickelson, who was one of the best possession receivers I'd ever been around. He ended up being the leading receiver for Tim Couch at Kentucky. And those type of receivers are so important to keep the chains moving. So what I'm looking forward to Kevin McGivern being able to find this fall is that receiver that can replace J.J. Buchanan as someone that can move the chains for you when you need to keep moving the ball down the field.
Do you believe that when you hear the offensive line is 10 deep, that they'll get the production they got last year? And is that enough? Because the two games they lost, they didn't run the ball very well. They didn't score very many points. They didn't run it at all against Texas Tech, and they ran a little bit against BYU, but they couldn't run it in the handful of short yardage situations that decided the game.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that you're 10 deep. And look, I love Jordan Gross. I think he was an amazing athlete. I think he was an incredible professional and collegiate player. If it's just his eyes that are telling him that, then maybe I don't trust it as much as if there's some other guys that are telling him the same thing. Like, look, you're 10 deep here. This is a really, really good offensive line. So depending on who's telling me that they're 10 deep makes me feel good about that situation. They're not going to be as good 5 deep because they lost 2 first rounders, right? We can pretend all we want like that's going to be, just a money position for them, but you don't replace 2 first rounders very easily.
No, you do not. We'll see how they do. Bear Bachmeier played at such a high level last year, and the thought being, well, he was a first-year freshman. Now he's a sophomore. He's been in the program, blah, 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 blah. But in terms of that's a nice theory, but in terms of actuality, what level of improvement will we really see because he was so good last year?
Well, I think when you had a year that Bear had, there's obviously things to work on. We've talked on this show about like reading the moving parts over the middle of the field, but I think the overall thing that you need to work on if you really want to be an all-time BYU grade, if you want to be someone that gets to go to the NFL and have a career, is you need to work on the consistency that you need on an every game basis that makes you elite. And so to be elite, he's got to be more consistent. And what that means is if he throws for 350 against, Bo Diddley Tech, for a better reference than I can find, he's also got to be able to do that against Texas Tech.
Now, do all that, but just put in the name L.J. Martin. He ran for 1,300 yards. Can they count on that again? That's a massive total. He was 6th in the country last year. Do you expect the same kind of production, or is that too big an ask?
I do. I listen, I think L.J. Martin is one of the least talked about really good football players in the country. And it's so weird to me because we talk, even here in this market, we talk a ton about Bear Bachmeier. The MVP of the league was L.J. Martin. The MVP, like top 5 player in the country, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a huge year. He needs to stay healthy. That's always true with a running back, right? But if he stays healthy, there's no reason for me to believe that he can't replicate exactly what he did last year.
Yeah, I think the reason why we don't talk about him enough, and I agree with you, is he draws no attention to himself. He's old school. Big run, touchdown run, put the ball down, hand it to the referee, whatever it might be. There's like Jamal Williams was a charismatic guy, right? And still is. I mean, I assume he's done playing. I know he's been around the program. But he was a great interview. He'd laugh. He just, the way he carried himself. LJ Martin is so understated that you don't even realize he gained 1,300 yards last year because nothing about him brings attention to himself. And I think that's part of the reason. And in the end, as far as his NFL career and his college career, that's not going to matter because it's going to be about the production. But these people who are more flamboyant seem to get more attention. And that's pretty much, in my mind, the only reason why he's not getting it.
Well, I think that's very true. It's really refreshing to me. It reminds me a little bit of Tyler Algier in the sense that all Tyler Algier has done since he played at BYU is produce, both in the NFL and everywhere he goes. And everywhere he goes, he starts to produce, and then they draft another back. Then he gets traded to the Arizona Cardinals, and they're like, hey, we're going to make you the guy. And then they draft another back. I mean, there is something about having a little bit of flamboyance in some of these skill positions that gets you a little bit more attention. But, man, you can't argue with the production. And LJ Martin is a man-child. He is a load. He is difficult to stop. And when he is rolling, BYU is very, very tough to stop.
BYU Notre Dame tickets are more expensive than BYU Miami tickets. What's the most you'd pay to go to a game? $100, $200, $300, $400, $500? Those BYU tickets are a little over $500.
I mean, when you start thinking about that, right? Like, I actually reposted this video by Hugh Freeze the other day. That was like, some family of 5 parked 5 miles away to sit in the top of this stadium to watch your tail play football. He goes, you owe them something, right? Like, and I, you know, when you think about it, and I got all fired up, and it was like, I'm 52 years old, and I shouldn't be fired up about football season because this edit that I retweeted was awesome. But you think about it, if I want to take my family to a BYU game at BYU versus Notre Dame, I mean, the ticket prices are enormous. Like, I don't know how much I'm willing to spend. I think if I wanted to take my whole family, I think you're talking about like $400 is like where I kind of draw a line. I'm like, hey man, I can watch it on TV and I can see the grass in his face mask and I can get the statistics from the announcers and I can feel the power of the game on TV now. But I mean, for me, I think it's about max 400 because if you take that, that's $2,000. Not to mention how much a cougar tail costs me now, right? Yeah. And then if I want to have Cosmo come and visit me, it's another what, $1,600?
Right.
You know, I don't know. It feels like a lot, but look, we're not talking about college football anymore. We got to get used to this. We're talking about pro football. These are pro football prices. These are pro football wages, and these players are getting paid like pro football players now. It's going to cost more to go to a game.
Jay Hill needed a year or so to get Weber going. How much do you think Kerr needs?
I think he needs a year. I think whenever you're a coach on a, and he's not mid-major, but he's with a really, really good conference in the FCS level. I think the hardest thing to bring in is your meat and potatoes to those schools. And meat and potatoes means offensive, defensive linemen, and maybe even tight ends, like where you find like real significant contributors in that spot. But I do think that Eric Kerr is going to have a year this year where there's a few games that he puts 50 points up on the board and you're like, oh my gosh, this could be a really, really fun team. And then there's going to be a couple of games where they lay eggs. I just don't think that they have all of the pieces together yet on the offensive and defensive line. I think he would probably tell you that. But this is going to be an exciting team all year to watch. And I think you're going to see his fingerprint very, very quickly, his fingerprints all over this program and it's going to be fun. And there's some really, really good local players playing for Weber State.
Can he find those players you talk about in the state of Utah, or does he have to cast a wider net? Or are there enough really good Big Sky offensive linemen, he'll be fine?
Well, I think there used to be, but I think what happens now is University of Utah, and I was looking at something the other day that said the average NIL payment for a P4 offensive lineman is around $200,000. Weber doesn't have $200,000. All they can compete with is playtime and a scholarship, right? And so I think it's a little bit different than it was even 5 years ago, trying to fill in some of those pieces, because if you're an offensive lineman from the state of Utah and they can pay him $100,000 to cut. I mean, they hardly have to pay him anything to get to outrank Weber, if that makes sense.
Right.
Unless they're a real competitor and they really want to play. And so I think it's a little bit harder for an FCS school to get good offensive linemen that you aren't developing over a few years, right? So I think where Eric can make some hay is with the pre-missionary, signing a pre-missionary that weighs 260 pounds, is 6'5", 260 pounds. His dad weighs 350. And you're like, okay, this guy has the frame. We can develop him over the next couple of years that he's at Weber and on a mission. And then he probably gets developed and taken away by one of the big P4 schools. But at least you have a really good offensive lineman for 2 years in your program. And then if you help them land, then you can sell that same type of story to another offensive lineman in the future.
If the dad weighs 350, how about if the mom weighs 240?
I plead the fifth. I pull a Fauci. I'm pulling a Fauci right now.
Well, I'm wondering if Utah State should adopt that model too, to an extent. We've talked several times with Todd Phillips, the UVU basketball coach, and he openly says, come here, man. Don't go someplace where you sit on a bench and don't get enough FGAs and don't get enough minutes. Come here. Show the world what you can do, and then you can go on to the ACC. You can go on to the Big Ten, because he's done all of that. You can go on to the Big 12. Those guys that he's coached, they've all done it. He has a track record. He literally can point to guys and say, hey, you could be the next fill in the blank who comes here, plays well, they win a bunch of games, you go on, you increase your money. So certainly Weber can do that, but Utah State, obviously, with the receiver going from Logan down to Utah here this year, where he has an opportunity to be the leading receiver. I'm wondering if that's a strategy that a lot of these places should employ.
Well, I think in some ways, if you're a mid-major, you're an FCS school, you really are kind of imploring the JC model that used to be when I was playing, right? It's like, hey, go start for 2 years, have an incredible season at Snow College, and then sign a Division I scholarship. I mean, look, I think I've talked to you guys offline. Like, if your son is in the state of Utah, let's say he's top 2 quarterback in the state right now, which the quarterbacks in the state of Utah are getting offers, and they're playing good football. And let's say he's the second best quarterback in the state of Utah, but he is the 78th rated quarterback in the country. It turns into a really interesting picture, and here's why. The top 50 teams in the state are going to sign, or the top 50 teams in the country are going to sign the top 50 quarterbacks in the country. However, the next 50 teams in the country are going to take bounce backs from the top 50 teams in the country and use that scholarship for that player. So you could be ranked 78th in the country, which in the past was like, you're a Division I quarterback, like you're playing Division I. Now you may have to be patient enough and smart enough to say, hey, I'm going to go to Weber State for 2 years. I'm going to start for 2 years under Eric Kehl. I'm going to throw for a bajillion yards, and then I'm going to sign my big contract at a big time P4 school. And so it's a little tougher on a high school kid because everybody likes the stickers on a helmet. But Eric could turn Weber State into a quarterback factory just like he did at Corner Canyon that churns out Division I quarterbacks and makes it so that Division I quarterbacks can come out of his program every 1 to 2 years because they're in a great system for quarterbacks. And now you play 2 years at Weber State, you have a really good chance to go play somewhere.
Yeah.
Not to mention that you had a really good scholarship. You were the big man on campus. You cut your teeth on a little bit lower level football, and now you're ready to play big time football.
I like it.
How about, as Riley just greets the neighborhood as they head off to work in the morning, good work, Riley. How about the argument that for a lot, it's very rare to move from high school to college, and then right away what you did as a high school coach doesn't matter. It doesn't. Except, and this is a major exception for Eric Hare, when he goes out and recruits a quarterback, well, he's not getting the top 25 or 30 because of the money they're getting and their talent. But can he overachieve because he can say, why would you go there? Has anyone on that staff ever put anybody in the NFL? Because I got multiple quarterbacks on NFL rosters. This guy was drafted number 1. That guy starts for the New York Giants. I mean, he's got a story to tell. Why? You can go wherever you want, but if you come here, I'll teach you how to play in the NFL. And other people may tell you that, but take a deep breath before you buy what they're selling. And think about where my quarterbacks have gone and then look at where their quarterbacks have gone. Seems like that's the one thing that you wouldn't normally have making a jump from high school to college, but he has that to sell.
Well, I think Eric has that. He has that story to sell. I mean, he has a very compelling story. He has that story to sell to some wide receivers too that go play in the SEC that have gone on to play some big time football. Look, this is a guy who knows offense. Eric also knows defense really well. I mean, this is a very, very talented individual. If there's, we just don't see this happen very often. We hear about it going to happen. We hear that maybe it could happen here or there. I mean, there's a couple of different coaches. I'm trying to remember. There was a kid named Mitch Mustang out of Arkansas who I think his coach ended up being his offensive coordinator. Auburn later.
Malzahn?
I can't remember the exact story. Yeah. And so you had Mitch Mustang, who was this big time quarterback, and did you say Mazzoni?
Malzahn.
Yeah, Malzahn. Sorry. Malzahn ends up going up and he ends up being his offensive coordinator, I think, at Auburn later. Now, Mitch Mustang didn't end up being the quarterback, but he got that break, and then he ended up being a great coach on the next level. But we just don't see this happen very much. I think this was a very gutsy call by the athletic director at Weber State. And I think there's going to be really interesting dividends at Weber State because of this.
We'll leave it right there for now, Riley. You can go out to the curb and greet a few more of your neighbors. We appreciate it.
Hey, look, I'm a friendly guy. Thanks for having me.
You're authentic, big guy. That's what you are.
Thank you.
Riley Jensen, former Aggie quarterback, joins us every week right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, when we come back, it is a Win Tickets Wednesday. We promised the Motley Crue, Tesla, and Extreme tickets. We'll give them away right after the break, right here on The Zone.
Buddy brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE wins 2 tickets to see Motley Crue with performances by Tesla and Extreme at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater September 21st. Tickets are on sale at livenation.com. You can win a couple tickets right now. 801-575-ZONE. Good luck. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The topic, football. We are so close now. Morgan Scalley, Kalani Sitake both say their team's good shape. They got what they wanted out of training camp. Everything's on track for them. You buying it? Eldon says, coach speak. You hear it every August. He's waiting for the games. Can't say I blame him.
Okay, but that doesn't discount whether it's true or false.
That is true. You are correct.
That's the more important point.
There was a lot of positivity last year, and then they backed it up.
I don't know that there was a lot of positivity for BYU. I think that we were in a wait and see with Bachmeier.
There was a wait and see on Bachmeier. The team was good, but could they be great without him?
Man.
Yeah.
And so there was way more skepticism. because it was an unusual circumstance. Most high-level programs don't start first-year freshmen unless they have to.
And if they do, they were there for spring ball.
And the way the world is now is they force them to miss their second half of their senior year, which I think the NCAA should outlaw that, but that's just me, for the good of the kid. And he wasn't there, although he had spring ball for Stanford. I mean, this is, talk about the new world order. You had spring ball for Stanford, and then you never played it down for them. That's just unheard of. But this is the circumstances being what they are, and obviously Troy Taylor getting dismissed led to that, and he comes here. So this year, I think for him, this is going to sound negative, but I don't mean it this way. I think there's too much hype for him because of the fact that he's just a sophomore. We're just basing it on, oh man, he's got another year experience. Okay, great, but what does that mean in terms of on-the-field production? What more can he do that he didn't do last year? He can do everything a little better, but what is that going to mean? Is it going to mean he's going to drag the Utah defender 7 yards instead of 5? What does that actually mean in terms of his production? And as you brought up with Riley Jensen, they've got a back who ran for 1,300 yards. No one's saying, oh, man, he's going to be better because he was great last year. He doesn't need to be better. Every single person associated with BYU football, if you say L.J. Martin recreates 27, what he had in 26, you'd sign off on that every time. He was MVP of the conference. He literally doesn't need to do more. So just the fact that, L.J. Martin is a year older, no one's saying that, but somehow we're saying that because Bachmeier is a year older and a year more experienced. What does that actually mean in terms of better production out on the field? Now, that sounds negative, but actually it's positive because he was so good last year that I don't know that I can expect more simply because he is a year older. I got to have more than that.
And his receiving core, he had a talented veteran receiving core last year, and it is going to be different this year. Now, maybe they'll go out and make plays for him, and it'll be great. But they leaned pretty heavily on the run game last year, and why wouldn't you again? I mean, Bear's so good at running the ball. LJ got scored 12 touchdowns on the ground. Bear ran for 11. And I know we've talked to A-Rod, the whole touchdown-interception ratio. That is one of the few things that A-Rod cares about statistically. And even that, he tempers a little bit. He acknowledges, you probably aren't going to throw as many touchdown passes if you're that good at running the ball.
I think he likes completion percentage too.
Yeah. Right? It's incomplete passes like the turnovers in basketball. They got all these stats for, how many points per possession and how many yards per play. The incomplete pass is 0 yards per play. The turnover is 0 points per possession. So you want to eliminate those negatives.
And actually, these 0 yards passing might be the best play under the circumstances.
There are moments where you can try to make a play, but you're just taking a risk of a turnover.
See, and that's what I'm a little concerned about. Oh, I'm a year older. I'm supposed to make this play. No, I want him to do what he did last year. And how long did he go before he threw an interception? Seemed like it was a long time.
Threw 7 on the year.
That's minuscule.
Not bad, right? Single digits for starting a freshman.
Right.
I mean, let's not get greedy here. I can look it up.
But see, there you go. It was for a freshman. I would take that for a junior.
He did not throw a pick in September, but in October, he started throwing them. But see, that goes back to your point of hey, I'm making plays now. I've eliminated mistakes. Now I've got to make bigger plays. And he throws a pick against West Virginia and 2 against Arizona, which the Arizona game, as opposed to looking at his whole season stats, can there be more consistency? Because back to the point about turnovers and completion percentage. Well, he threw 2 picks against Arizona, and he was 12 of 29, which is only 41%, which isn't nearly good enough.
Right.
And they squeaked it out in overtime.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't know it at the time. That was one of their better wins because Arizona was a really good team.
Yep.
And go look at the defensive backs and how many of them went to the NFL off of that Arizona team.
Loaded. Straight to the team.
But we didn't understand it at the time because they were coming off a crappy year. And it was still somewhat earlier in the season. In retrospect, yeah, I mean, 12 and 29 is not good no matter what retrospect, introspect, whatever spec you got. I get that. But let's credit a little bit for Arizona because they were a pretty doggone good football team last year.
Right. And the teams where he really let up and fired up his numbers, the 70% completion rates were against Eastern Carolina, Colorado, and West Virginia. We know. In
Colorado, they were down 14-0 out on the road, and we didn't know at the time that Colorado sucked. It's the other way. It's the reverse.
He also had a game he completed 84% of his passes against UCF.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
If he completes 84% of his passes on the season, I like that.
He was right at 59 or 60% in the 2 Texas Tech games and in the Utah game. So, in the biggest games, now as a sophomore,
and he needs to do better.
Can he inch those up a little bit?
Okay.
Just the incremental improvement. Show me 65, 67%, something like that.
Well, it depends on, too, what's the play call?
Yep.
How many chances is A-Rod going to take?
How many times you throw it down the field versus how many times you hit LJ out of the backfield?
The objective is to win the game.
Yep.
And winning the game, however you do it, nobody cares how you do it, as long as you win the game.
That's back to they were really good at running the ball, and they were really good at running the ball in the red zone. Between LJ and Bear, and there were, basically LJ had a third of the touchdowns, Bear had a third of the touchdowns, and a third of the rushing touchdowns were scattered across the rest of the roster. Backup running backs, fly sweeps, whatever.
Fumble Ruski.
Fumble Ruski.
Yeah. So you put the ball on the ground there, and he picks it up. Nobody knows who has it. It's a trick. He can improve. There's no question about it. But I don't know statistically if I'm looking for widespread improvement just simply because he's a year older. Because no one is saying that about L.J. Martin. He's a year older, too. Now, for him, it's all about health. That's it. Simply healthy production. Not healthy, not production. You can draw a direct line. He's proven himself to that level, and he's proven it for multiple years on the good and the bad. The bad being, of course, being dinged up. Actually, I don't expect him to reach 1,300 yards this year because Moa's there, and
they've spread the carries around.
Yeah, and Bear can run a little bit, and the passing is going to be interesting because, will they have somebody who gained 950 yards like Kingston did? Right now, I'd say no, but.
I get that. I can see why you take the under because they spread it around. Yeah. I can see why you take the under on LJ because they spread it around. I got the numbers right in front of me, and LJ 236 carries, Bear Bachmeier 147. Nobody else had more than 25.
Right.
And that's
but they didn't have Moa most of the year.
Right, yeah. And so for Moa, if he's...
So they're talking about him, and use him. If he's good, use him.
If he's 6 or 7 carries a game, he's going to end up 60, 70, 80 carries over the course of the season.
So. And, they lose Carson Ryan, and it looks like he's going to make the NFL. But they keep talking up this Sali Paga and Lions, obviously. So if these guys, if they're there, then what difference does it make? Who has it as long as the collective has it? But I'm interested to see how that plays out. And for Utah, I think that's just we're going to hear that at all times. I think it's Morgan Scalley's nature to be positive. Kyle would be more matter of fact, or he wouldn't talk it up. If it wasn't there to talk it up, he wouldn't talk it up. I think Scalley is going to just be a ray of sunshine, particularly in August when you haven't lost a game. We'll see how he reacts. He's never been in this situation, never, where he's had to speak and be a leader with a loss. He's never been in that situation. I mean, when Kansas State ran up 150 yards per play last year, Scalley didn't answer for it.
Nope.
They
didn't bring him out.
Kyle,
walking off the field, and he walked right by me, and I looked at him, and he just gave me. He didn't say anything.
Right.
Just gave me a look that just said, "I'm tired. I'm frustrated. What the heck happened? That was embarrassing." It was all in one look.
They just ran up and down the field.
Right. That's not the same as getting up there and talking for 10 minutes, and then having your words parsed by every media member and every booster and every player and every parent for a week until you get to play another game.
At which point, when the expectations are high, sometimes that doesn't even quiet people down because they're games where you're just expected to win, and when you do, you really don't get that much. It's just like you check a box and you move on. How long is it before you can win a big game? So you might have to live with something for 2,
when
3,
you
4
win,
weeks.
you can be happy and positive and so forth. So we'll see that. But how's it going to be? But I expect him to be, in August, nothing but positive because he's an upbeat guy. And you have to, Riley talks about being authentic. I actually think that is being authentic. We've been around him for friggin' 30 years to know that that's the case. And so, of course, he's going to accentuate the positive because he's going to do it every circumstance all the time anyway because it's just who he is.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You give away those concert tickets. We all done with that?
All gone.
All right. Well, when do you want to give away the next thing? It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We got tickets all over the place.
Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour.
All right. Stay tuned. 9 o'clock hour. We'll send you out to Wings and Wheels at the Spanish Fork Airport. That's in the 9 o'clock hour. Bryan Kehl at the top of the hour talking Cougar football. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Our winner this week for the Utah County Player of the Week is Salem Hills quarterback Cash Hollingshead. Cash finished the night with 307 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 44 yards and a score. And needing to respond to a Spanish Fork touchdown, he ran in for the score with 9 minutes left in the game as Salem Hills took the lead. Spanish Fork came back to ultimately score late and win 33-28. Great game, wild game. Cash Hollingshead is the Utah County Player of the Week every week. KSL Sports, the name of Utah County High School Player of the Week right here on The Zone. All right, DJ and PK. PK went wild on our Facebook page yesterday. So many questions. Today's National Dog Day. What does man's best friend mean to you? People flock to this. Lucas, my chocolate lab got me through my divorce.
Oh, nice.
She's my best friend. She died 16 years after Santa brought her to my kids. That chocolate lab was my best friend.
Oh, man's best friend. Yeah.
Right? Matthew, dogs are amazing. If you find yourself feeling empty when you walk in the door after a long day, get you a couple of dogs. They change the way it feels when you come home. Best thing I ever did was getting a dog after not wanting one.
Yeah, but then they die.
I know. Rob says, best example of unconditional love there is.
That's so true. If I could love half as much as the dog, I wouldn't be in the situations that I'm in. We have 2 boxers. We had one that died. And I had to do a freaking show that morning from a hotel room in San Antonio, Texas.
Let's hear it for the Alamo Bowl, people.
Because you were flying that day and wasn't available. And the night before I got invited to go on a boat deal with the Whittingham family. Huh? But I'm talking to my family. I'm talking to my wife, and she says something's up with the dog. And so talk with her, and I didn't go on the thing. And then the next morning, I get up, and I'm doing the show from the hotel room, and I text her, how's the dog? She texts back, he didn't make it. I had to do the show. I had 3 hours of show. And it sucked. And so now, 3 months later, we get another boxer. And, I mean, you talk about loyal, and he doesn't do it as much for me, but he sits by the window, the front window.
And waits for her to come home.
And then when he sees her car versus mine, sprints. I mean, he will run you over if you get in his way. Sprint, and you know where the door is with the garage. You've been in my house. And he'll stand right there. And
so he goes from the front window watching the car drive down the street, and when he sees it on the street, to the door
turns
to
left
come in
to
from
go
the garage.
into the driveway.
Yeah, that's her. She's home. Bang, right to the door.
Sprints from the front room to the garage entry and
funny.
Just stands there looking up. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Alexander says, no matter what my Rams, my Dodgers, my Jazz, or my Mammoth do, my best friend is still there by my side.
That's so true, man.
Brady, dogs, my best buddy. And we get a selfie. Hat, sunglasses, summer day out on the lawn with the dog.
Yeah. And the other night, dogs don't like thunder or fireworks. And the other night we had some nasty stuff. I'm downstairs. I think it's Sunday. I'm watching the Williamsport game.
Dog comes down to be with you because
no, she's upstairs. She gets the upstairs. I go downstairs, and so I come up, and we have a couch. It's a sectional thing, so it's like a half circle kind of. And there he is sitting right next to her on that couch. The first time I've ever seen him on that couch, because we got a dog bed for him. But I said, you teaching him to go? Oh, he was afraid.
Yeah, I know. There's no rules. There's no rules when
and
it
he's
comes
sitting
to
there
pets.
looking at me like, you can't kick me off because she says I can come on. Because in the front room, I used to kick him off. But now the furniture's kind of beat up.
What the heck?
And I don't care anymore.
I know.
He's only going to be around 10 years.
Yep.
Why not make it the best 10? They're not around that long. I got plenty of questions when I get to meet the devil on the other side, and that's going to be one of them. Why so short? Why do you give him come on, can't we double it? Is it going to hurt anybody?
Give the dog 20. Let's go.
Yeah.
DJ and PK, it is National Dog Day, so get your dog a treat. When we come back, Bryan Kehl, former Cougar, joins us with college football right around the corner. We'll talk with him next. Stay with us.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined by the former BYU Cougar, Bryan Kehl. Bryan, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
We are doing well. I am so curious. We're getting so close to football. You played and you heard coaches talk, and now you're all done playing and you hear coaches talk. And there should be a lot of positivity around BYU. They won a lot of games last year and they got a lot of players back. But I wonder if this time of year you're 80% in on the positivity, 90%, 100%. Where are you?
Honestly, it's kind of a weird situation. I have higher expectations than I don't even know. I don't know the last time I've had such high expectations, and it's just the result of winning. We've won a lot of games the last 2 years, and like you just said, we got a lot of players back. So it's like you look at where we were last year and the year before, and then you look at this year, and you're like, okay, well, that guy's back. That guy's back. We're better at this position. We're better at it. You just kind of start to drink the Kool-Aid. And I've always enjoyed that nice blue Kool-Aid. So I'm all in, man. My expectations they're to the moon.
You've been around a lot of coaches during your time as a player, from youth ball all the way up to the NFL. And BYU's got a new defensive coordinator in Kelly Papinga taking over for Jay Hill, who was wildly successful. Based on your knowledge, what makes a coordinator be good?
Yeah, there's so many things, and it goes beyond just understanding the X's and O's and understanding football, because that's obviously a huge component of it. But then if you're a play calling coordinator, which most are, there's this whole other element, which is just being cool and calm when the bullets are flying, and being able to think clearly and strategize on your feet very quickly and respond to what your opponent is calling. And so it's not just, creating a good defense, an effective defense or offense or whatever it may be, but it's also it's in the moment when the game circumstances dictate it, being able to dial up what your team needs on that play, that down and distance, that spot on the field, and that's really the X factor that separates the average from the good to the great. And the great ones, they have that X factor. So for K-Pop, who's, one of my great friends and teammates, and I have great expectations for him, there's no doubt in my mind that he knows all the X's and O's. He understands it. He's crafted a great defense. The only thing that's for me and for any of us that's to be seen is can you dial up the right call on the down and distance at the time in the game. So that's the only thing that's kind of an unknown, and him being a first time, play caller, that's where it'll be interesting to see. But as far as knowing football, there's no question there. He knows his stuff. We'll just see it. I just hope that he can call it and dial it up at the right time.
Now, as you get older and you watch more film and you've been through more situations, you're bound to have your own opinions. Have you ever been in the huddle and the play call comes in, you go, oh, that's stupid, they're going to pick up a first down here. Or the play call comes in and, this is brilliant, they have no chance.
Absolutely. 100% absolutely. And, I mean, we'll just go back to, playing with K-pop. Our senior year, we were in Provo. We were playing TCU. They were really good at the time. We were really good. And it was a close game. It was a Thursday night game, close game. And Bronco, he was not, at that point in time, was not super aggressive. We played a bend but don't break kind of style of defense, right? This was 2007. And we had scored to go ahead, and I don't remember how much time was left in the game, but it was fourth quarter, not like last minute, but, middle of the fourth quarter. Like, we needed to get a stop. And we played like a conservative, every play that came in was a conservative, just playing coverage. And every time we're just like, come on. And sure enough, TCU went down the field and scored. And then we got the ball back and we scored. And then now it was like crunch time. Like, there's very little time left in the game. And, if they go down and score, they're probably going to win. And this time around, Bronco calls 4 straight blitzes. I'll never forget this because we were all just like, see, you trusted us. And, we delivered. He called 4 straight blitzes, and we had like an incompletion, a 2-yard gain, and 2 sacks. And it was 4 and out, game over. And it was just, I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it. But to answer your question, yes, there are times where the play comes in and the guys are rolling their eyes like, come on, dude.
I thought you'd give us an answer like that, and I love the specifics, Brian. That was great.
Talking with Kelly, he'll just recite where this defense came from, and he goes back to Kyle Whittingham's father, Big Fred, who did coach at BYU, also obviously coached in the NFL and at Utah, and how it's been passed down. So the guy has never been a defensive coordinator, but yet has had extensive training, and the lineage is really strong. So what do you think he's going to do in terms of being aggressive at the right time? Because it turns out that Bronco was aggressive at the right time under your circumstances that you just explained to us.
He was. And Bronco was a phenomenal coach. And honestly, he understood our personnel at the time. And we were limited in the back end. And so being aggressive was a roll of the dice, okay? So now look at BYU right now. Look at BYU's personnel. And, I mean, I was talking to someone about this the other day, not just in football, but in basketball. But every sport, the major sport, you look at BYU, just the personnel, there is more team speed and athleticism than they've ever had. And that's not debatable. That's not just opinion. Like, that is absolutely quantifiable fact.
Yep.
Okay. They have more athleticism, more team speed than they've ever had. So in the context of defense and calling a defense and a coordinator and how aggressive can you be, speed is a great equalizer. And it is a great redeemer, because if you get beat and you have that extra gear, you can catch up. If you're out of position and you have, that elite speed, you can get back into position. And it gives a coordinator a lot of ability, a lot of freedom to call stuff that if they don't have that, then they're not able to call it. And so, yeah, I expect Kelly to be very aggressive. And I think he's picked up, and the conversations I've had with him and that I've just heard him, to the media, to other people, is he's picked up little nuggets from everywhere he's gone. And that's who he is. Like, that's the type of guy he is. Like, he's the guy with the notepad paying attention. And, oh, okay, yeah, I like that. And writes it down. And he's always been that way. And so I just fully expect him to have picked up all the little nuggets from all his stops and everyone that's influenced him, And then now, like we just said, the question is, can you call it at the right moment and the right time and put that part of it together? But I do expect them to be aggressive.
Back in the day, when, as you point out, there wasn't as much athletic ability, you obviously had NFL players, and you played in the league, I think 5 years, maybe 6, and you played with David Nixon. I think he played 3 years in the NFL. So you had NFL guys, and NFL guys at other positions too. But how big was the drop-off with the depth, and what do you think now of the second string? So either you rotate guys and keep them fresh, or if you have injuries, guys can step up and still play at a high level. Do you see a big difference between now and then?
Yeah, there is. And that's really what helps you sustain through a whole season of pounding in a conference like the Big 12. Because football, I mean, it's 100% injury rate. Like, if you play football for any amount of time, like, you're going to get something, right? And it's just college football and NFL football. It is just a brutal game. There's going to be injuries. What does your depth look like? Going back to the historical BYU teams, yeah, the starting lineups were really, really great. Like, quality players, NFL guys, like you said. And the fault they just didn't have the depth. And so, you look at seasons where the injury bug just really nipped us, and it just, you just can't sustain the performance with the reserves. And now, with the way the program's gotten itself, the depth is so much better. And sometimes, there might be a young guy who might be more talented that comes in, inexperienced and young, but maybe more talented. In fact, I remember I went to this team event a year ago before the season and was sitting there talking to Jay Hill, and he was telling me about some young guys that he was like through the roof on because they were so talented, like very young and inexperienced and still need to learn football. But as far as talent, though, better than guys that were older than them. And so that's something that's new. That's a new thing for BYU. We've never had that, and so it is a great result of the resources that they put in place and being in a Big 12 and all of those things.
All right, that leads me right into my next thought with you. The last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of commotion and an apparent disconnect between Kalani Sitake and what he says is basically owed to him, not personally, but to the program, versus what the administration or the athletic director is willing to give, whatever it might be. So you can comment on that if you want, but my thought for you is, we talk about no distractions. What are your thoughts on this being a potential distraction? It seems like that Kalani's been able to insulate the team from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be said about that, and so much that I would say and I won't say on the air and all that stuff. And I don't even know all the details. I hear things, and I'm not involved officially anywhere down there, so I'm not privy to all the details and all the particulars. I just have my opinions and what based off of what I hear. And I'm a football guy. I'm biased. Like, football is amazing, and the resources should and have been given to football, and it's been cool to see in the last couple of years how the decision makers, whether that's in Provo or in Salt Lake, in regards to BYU and using resources, not just dollars, but time and priority. So resources, whatever they may be, that they've been unlocked a bit in the last couple of years, and hopefully they continue to be unlocked. And then with that, it's just cool as a lifelong BYU fan to see the sports have success directly correlated to those resources. And, all the Olympic sports have just dominated forever at BYU. They've been great, and that's been fantastic, and there's a lot of pride in that. And then, of course, the last couple of years has been tremendous success for football and basketball, and I hope that continues. I'm not privy to all the details, but I want it all, man. I want us to use the resources. I want Kalani to be happy. I want Kevin Young to be happy. I want the brass upstairs to be happy, and I want us to just go win. And so whatever that looks like, whatever it takes to get there, let's just go do it. That's where I'm at with it.
I think Kalani has a lot of a lot of momentum and a lot of power in this discussion because they've won double-digit games 4 times in 6 years, and they've had some really different problems thrown at them, and they've overcome them on the way to those 10, 11, 12-win seasons, whatever they were. The 2 years they didn't get there, they had quarterback injuries, but overcoming COVID, losing the number 1 pick in the draft, you think you're going to have a senior quarterback, suddenly have a freshman starter who wasn't at spring ball. He's overcome a lot. Having said all that, do you expect it'll be 5 out of 7?
I do. And here's the thing. You look, I think BYU and Utah fans I don't think they realize how good they've had it. You look at Kyle Whittingham, he's one of the finest football coaches in the country. And that's been proved by the fact that a blue blood of the blue bloods just came and snatched him, right? And so Utah's been blessed. And honestly, they did not know how good they had it for a lot of years. And some of them do, but absolutely blessed. He's just an outstanding football coach, and I expect Michigan to dominate. Okay, now for Kalani. There's a lot of BYU fans that do not know how good they have it. Kalani is a special guy, and that's proven by the fact that Penn State almost poached him. And the only reason they did it is because Kalani, like me, is true blue through and through, lifelong fan, grew up, dreams, all that stuff. That's the only. It's not dollar. There's no other reason. The only reason that they were able to hold on to him was because at the end of the day, he wants to be at BYU. He's a BYU guy. But all that being said, there's a lot of people, fans, pundits, you name it, that just they don't understand how special of a person and a coach he is, and he really is. And it's not. I don't blow smoke. You guys know how I am. I call balls and strikes, and they're both. He's just a phenomenal coach, and so yes, I do expect them to go do it again this year. I think he does more with less than most coaches in the country, and even whatever complaints or whatever resources that aren't being allocated or any of that aside, he's going to go produce, and I expect him to do it again this year because he rallies the troops, man. He's the type of coach that it's cliche, but it's true. He's the type of coach that guys just I'll run through a wall for that guy. And that's how the players in that locker room are. And so they're going to go perform for him. And I expect that again this year.
Yeah, I see no reason. I mean, I think that's well said. And you do call balls and strikes as you see them. And you've been that way since you were a player for sure. It's just in your personality and your DNA to be able to say what you feel, and you do it very well. So I think you encapsulize, if that's a word, some fancy word probably over my head, that the essence of the program stems from the coach, and it starts from there and it goes all the way down. And this program is in a good spot largely because of him. I don't know that there's any other way to say it.
I agree. And that's, people that don't know the details or just understand, they just don't understand where we would be with some other coaching and he made some comments recently about how much he appreciates Parton and Bronco and Lavelle now more than before, because now he understands what they were dealing with. The combination of expectations coupled with restrictions that are put in place to be the football coach or whatever coach at BYU. And it's just a unique situation. It's a unique institution, which I love and I'm all for, but it comes with it some different parameters. And, in a lot of ways you're playing down, you're playing with a hand behind your back. You're expected to go compete with higher restrictions or rules and all that stuff, and he does it, and he's just special, man. I love the guy.
He is dealing with restrictions that are not dealt with at other schools, to be sure. But is this another case where you look back 20 years and think you're seeing more tats, more earrings, more long hair? I don't know. You probably got better examples than I do. If you see things,
no, I have. You know what? I have noticed that, and that's a whole topic for another thing. And it's interesting. There's members of the church that are listening out there. It's kind of interesting. I was just on that subject, I looked at something just the other day in the handbook because I was wondering, like, what have they changed the stance on tattoos? And the wording is different now than it used to be. And it's just there's some things that are different. It's not as black and white, hard lines, it's just some relaxing of the phraseology, if you will. And so, you do see more of that stuff on campus and more of that in church on Sunday, which is, we want to have a big tent and everybody's invited and everybody's involved. And I think that's great.
Bryan, we'll leave it right there for now, but we will get back to you when there are games and see what you think of the way they're shaking out. How about that?
I can't wait, man.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
We appreciate you coming on. Thanks, Bryan.
Yep, you bet.
Bryan Kehl, former BYU, and I didn't mention a few NFL teams, I think most prominently the New York Giants.
Giants and Rams, I think, were the two. And I didn't think you saw tats. I thought you saw right through them. You just judge everyone in their purest form. And now you're talking about tats and earrings and long hair.
Difference between noticing and judging, PK. Not blind.
I judge. I fully admit I judge. Yeah, I'm a human being. That's what it boils down to.
Who loves dogs?
My dog. Your dog's another story.
Limited number of dogs, especially based on whether it's on a leash or not and what it's doing in your yard. I have to go home and talk to some neighbors.
I've been bit twice.
I don't need to clean up after your dog.
Twice, I can.
Bit? I was only bit once as a kid.
Doberman got me.
Oh, yeah?
Doberman. Every time I watch Fletch, I have PTSD.
Dobermans.
You ever seen Fletch, El Capitan?
Intimidating
I have not seen Fletch.
That movie's older than you.
Have you heard of it?
I don't think I have, actually.
Chevy Chase got some slapsticks. Got Provo in it.
Yeah, it's right across the street from BYU. In fact, the Dobermans are in Utah County when he comes up here. It's a funny movie.
You know what? I think that movie's on the list of movies I need to watch, I just got to get around to it.
It's silly funny.
Yeah. That's grab a pizza Friday night, have a few laughs.
It reminds me so much of the TV show Love American Style.
What?
Have you ever heard of that show?
No, totally right over the head.
See, DJ is a big TV guy. That's why I brought it up.
That's before my time, man.
You watched it. You did.
I saw it one time.
See, you watched it.
I did. My grandmother watched it. You ever see the show? I'm looking at her like, have you met my mother? No, I haven't watched the show. I was like 8 or 9.
Well, there's a show, How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, there is. I haven't. I should binge that show. It seems pretty funny. I see clips on social media, but I haven't watched that show. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So coming up next, we'll get to everything you missed in this show. Stay with us right here in the zone. Oh, we got to give away tickets too, don't we? It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. We'll do that right after the break. Stay with us.
For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Wins a family 4-pack of tickets to Wings and Wheels 2026 coming to the Spanish Fork Airport on Saturday, September 26th. I think we're going down there for a remote this year. This was fantastic. We went last year, Alex, and it was hilarious. They literally set us up on a table by one of the hangar or garages there, and it was locked up, so I don't know exactly what it was, but we're kind of out of the way. But the runway is right there, and like plane takes off, it comes around the corner, and there was no use in us talking. We just looked at each other and started laughing. It's like, how can we do a radio show right now? But if anybody had any doubt where they were, where we were that day, they knew.
Just sitting there enjoying the show.
That is clearly an airplane in the background. So we were down there in advance of the show last year. You want to go to the show this year? Family 4-pack tickets right now, 801-575-ZONE. And head out to the Spanish Fork Airport Saturday, September 26th for Wings and Wheels 2026. It's a big deal, and it keeps getting bigger. Free tickets right now, 801-575-ZONE. Remember that plane? And us just cracking up.
It was funny to be there with the planes, but it was also fascinating to look at them. And that was I was glad we went down there. It was fun for me just to check out all that stuff that was right in front of us, but we have never done
a show from the runway, basically.
The show on the runway was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, the planes are cool. If you ever have a chance to go to Hill Air Force Base has a museum up there. A lot of people vacation in San Diego, going to Balboa Park. They have the Air and Space Museum there, and obviously the Smithsonian has a pretty cool display. So have a chance to check those things out whenever. Planes have a little bit of magic to them. All right, it is time right now to get you up to speed on everything you missed in this show. And brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. A lot of football today, PK. A lot of positivity out there. And with good reason, these teams have been winning. We just had Bryan Kehl on. If you use the word, spoiled. This has been awesome. It's not an automatic. And yet here we are.
Well, nothing is an automatic in the world of sports and really in life for that matter. And particularly for BYU, this is a sweet time because Utah had the upper hand clearly, dominantly for over a decade. And you were wandering around in sort of a wasteland with Independence there for a while. And they were competing for Pac-12 titles and going to Rose Bowls. I mean, gosh, that's about as bad as it gets between a rival.
Mm-hmm.
But now
they're back in the
even.
Same league, right? Yeah.
It's even. And, the games, so they've played twice in league play, and the games have been decided by 4 points. Is that what we got?
24-21 last year.
And wasn't the other one a one-pointer? There's a last-second field goal by Farron.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe 5 points. But anyway, they've been neck and neck, and they both had good teams. And I expect both to have good teams this year. And when you get down to it, every game really matters, especially for these teams in this conference because of the fact that there is not even close to a guarantee that they'll let a second team in.
24-21, 22-21. Let that guide you on all your, FanDuel prop bets. That's what the last two games have looked like.
Actually, I would sit that one out.
I can see why you would do that because you always do.
I always do, but
as do I.
It's
Alex,
unpredictable.
Oh, Alex is on the phone. He's giving away winner. Can't find out if he sits that out. Oh yeah, it's crazy the way these games. There was one that when they went 26-17, I think that was kind of an odd score. 9 points is a big margin in this rivalry. You see it every once in a while, but you don't see a lot of it.
And
even during that domination, remember Utah, it looked like they were going to win comfortably, and then BYU scores late. Actually, I think a couple of late scores, and then Taysom Hill gets stopped on a 2-point conversion. So even in the streak, there were a bunch of close games.
Yeah, and those games are just for bragging rights. Here, it's literally for an opportunity to go to a playoff.
Yeah, go to the conference title game
yeah.
and get your way into the college football playoff.
Right.
So a ton of positivity, mostly warranted, given the players they have back from and what they accomplished.
I think it's definitely warranted. I've got no problem with it.
A few more questions at Utah, just because we don't know how Morgan Scalley is going to handle adversity, and there's more unknown.
That's what it boils down to, because this is the first time in 2+ decades that they've been in this situation. And then not just the guy retiring or quitting because he didn't retire, but then taking so many guys. And which I believe actually may be beneficial because it allows Morgan to put his stamp on the program even more.
Build your own staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to inheriting the whole thing and then you're trying to do it different, but everybody's used to that way, and then question. Bring in some people, they don't know how it was. Whatever. Or if they do, they only know it from the outside.
Right. Everybody on the offensive staffs except for one, and several on the defensive staff. And then the holdovers, you promoted a couple of guys.
Colton Swan's got a new responsibility, so it's a new deal for him.
And I think, Sharif Shaw's been around enough, and those two are super tight anyway.
Sharif and Scalley,
yeah.
During the press conference, Ford, see what I did there? Mm-hmm. Ford spent quite a bit of time talking about Sharif and their bond and the debt he owes Sharif and how much he loves him and on down the line.
I've seen those guys together on the golf course.
Yeah.
So that you can argue now that the bond is tighter. Because last year, who do you got to make sure, if Scalley's watching me, I got to make sure I'm okay, but I also got
the old man there. I got to make sure. Well, now it's just the one guy, and now it's new. Everybody's together, new. It's a new staff. Even though there are some holdovers, it's a new staff. There's a new freshness about it, and they want to show everybody out there, hey, that other guy was really good, but we're really good too.
Yeah, Sharif has a really unique relationship with Morgan, and he's talked about it on multiple occasions when they were young and coming up. And you say, Steph, well, if I ever get the chance, I will, blah, 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 whatever it is. And Sharif's like, he has a way of Sharif, he says it quietly, he raises an eyebrow, but it lands with a little bit of a punch. He goes, hey, remember when you said you can do that now? You really going to do that? Yeah, I am. So he and Morgan have had some of those conversations.
And all that right now is talk, and we get to see how it will be when it happens. Because inevitably, when it happens is basically everything. There's going to be something that's going to happen in virtually every form during the course of a football season. And how are they going to handle it? How are they going to respond? Tough times come in a quarter, tough times come in a half, they come in a game, they come in a season. And how do you respond? Great times come too. And how do you respond to that? Because you got to make sure that you still keep your edge about you, even in the great times. And all that stuff is brand new.
In addition to the college football, there's the, and that's all fun because that's so much closer to the game, but there's the rules. And the Big Ten will not allow football players to return from the NFL. Now the SEC is drawing up a rule to stop the NFL, the NBA, and the WNBA players from returning. And the ACC and Big 12 are expected to follow in short order with similar rules. You were saying the Big 12 you heard meeting today, so we might hear something as early as today. But it sounds like everything we're reading is like all four of these leagues are going to be on board by the end of the week. This is moving quickly here.
You know, at some point you have to have common sense. And nobody can agree on anything in the world today, but it seems like we can get that you shouldn't be doing all this stuff at the pro level and then still have college eligibility. That seems basic. We can have all sorts of discussions and disagreements on a bunch of other stuff, but doesn't that seem basic? The basic premise of college sports is you're not coming from the pros, you're coming from high school, junior college, because we do let foreign guys, and that's always been murky.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because we don't really know about that.
How
but
much
I
are
think
they getting paid
they
and
need to
how
take a
early?
look at that.
Yeah, how much are they getting paid and how early?
Right.
And then you have people who draw the comparisons to real life. Well, you can go back to college in real life. Yeah, you can, but do you go to the dorms and the dining commons? I mean, you may go back and take a class, get a graduate degree or something, pivot midlife and go get a degree and do something. We hear those stories, returning students.
Yeah, I think it's apples and kumquats. I don't think it's the same.
But you don't go live in the dorms and go to the dining commons. You've moved on. I do think it'll be interesting to see if one league allows it, and maybe it won't be one of the power leagues, and will that insulate everybody against a court challenge? Because there are going to be court challenges to this.
They'll take grief in the manner that Tech took grief over Sorsby.
They will.
Because there was a universal agreement except for one school, not even the conference. Everybody in the conference. And I'm listening to Joey McGuire, Texas Tech coach, driving in this morning, and he's going to use that as motivation. That's motivation. Hey, we were ready to just screw the rules, and people call us out on it. We got to show them, yeah, we would screw the rules and bleep you if you got a problem with it. That's essentially what he's saying. That's motivation?
Apparently. Apparently. I was going to take him at his word and enjoy the show.
Jeez. And the guys, oh, yeah, I love it. I love it. Zero pushback whatsoever. Zero.
Circle it. September 18th. You can watch Texas Tech and root for Houston, and everybody in the conference will.
There's a little bit. Majerus used to talk to me about this, is that he didn't want to see road teams get a win, though, because that can give them an advantage. He always wanted to see the home teams win. Now, in basketball, road wins are harder to come by than football.
And he was also talking in an era when everybody played everybody twice. And I think the thinking here, and this might even be different between Utah and BYU for all the similarities, BYU doesn't play Houston or Texas Tech. If Tech gets that win, what really slows them down? I mean, I mean, I think most people already have them penciled into the title game. But for the few holdouts, if they beat Houston, then even the holdouts are going to pencil them into the title game. And I get it's only one game and it's still a long way to go. It'll still be mid-September.
Yeah, but Houston has to prove itself, too. So many close wins.
And so that's why I think people will be okay with Houston winning, because they'll still have to prove themselves with the close wins. Now, from the Utes' perspective, Utah plays them at home and can beat them and take care of business. So I think Utah would rather see Texas Tech get the L and figure, well, we'll take care of business when we play Houston. Now, it's a little different for BYU because they're not playing either one of them. So, yeah, I think the whole conference will be rooting for Houston. And I get your point about the road wins, and it's well taken.
I think they'll be rooting for Houston because it's so early and you can't draw any ramifications from it, and the fact that Texas Tech is starting to get under our skin.
Right. Now, I think the last part is the most important.
But if it would have been the end of the season, it might be different. But there's so much ball to be played.
Yeah, by the end of the season, you specifically know who you need to have win or lose and what the scenarios are. And you'll realize it gets late in the year. I mean, if they were playing late in the year and a team's like, 6-0 or 7-0, you might look at their schedule and think, well, they're in the title game whether they win this game or not. But not early in the year. So circle it. And they'll have all the tight shots of him, and he can be the villain. And if he starts sweating buckets in the third quarter.
Joey?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They'll have a lot of cutaways of him.
And Sorsby, he showed up at their scrimmage the other day. See, we take care of him.
Good dude. Yay. They take care of him.
He managed to tell us that.
Yeah. Good. Well, do it. You should. Fine. The NFL news, maybe the injury news, not so bad for Clint Kubiak's running back Ashton Jeanty, although the Raider coach doesn't really want to confirm it. He just says, he's on the mend. Staying totally nebulous.
Well, I expect him to get 25 carries in the last preseason game.
No, you don't. RSL, not good enough. PK, the injuries have piled up. They're missing 3 starters. They're playing 8 times in 25 days. They're also missing a few backups. When you're playing 8 times in 25 days, you need the backups as well to rotate through. So they get knocked out, shut out by Club Leon. 3 goals. It was over when they put the third one there in the 72nd minute or whatever it was. That pretty much wrapped it up.
That's when I went to bed.
Yeah. Now they come home. They're off today, and then they're back at it tomorrow, and they're right back to Denver. They'll play the Rapids in Commerce City Saturday night. They need reinforcements. They're not good enough right now. Just not enough players, not enough talent. Brian Rolap, the PGA Tour CEO, says no path back playing for the LIV golfers, although he doesn't slam the door on it either. There could be a path back later. There just isn't one right now because the 2 players they would most want to welcome back are still under contract as far as he knows.
Well, the demise has to be official, and it's not.
Then they can cook up a path back.
And you know somebody's stepbrother's uncle's cousin who says, hey, hold on.
Okay, I don't know if I can get this right. My dentist says his stepbrother's son's father-in-law is the LIV Tour commissioner. So that's pretty much a direct line.
How many cavities?
1 chipped cavity. Previously been filled and the filling broke. So get back in there and do the heavy lifting.
Come on over, I'll fix it.
Knock it out. Klay Thompson leaves Dallas, goes to Miami. Better opportunity to win. He's excited. And Miami should win more games than Dallas.
Yeah, and then maybe they'll get Kyrie Irving.
Bum, bum, bum.
I think you're sleeping on Miami a little bit.
Yeah. How much? You want to put them top 4 in the East?
I haven't doped that out yet.
Okay.
It's too early.
Yeah. I am probably thinking of them as 5 or 6 in the East. I probably wouldn't put them top 4.
It's an improvement over what they were last year.
It is.
But, Giannis, you got something to prove? You kind of yesterday's news, buddy.
Yep. True story. Put a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Give him something to prove.
Right.
But I wouldn't have had the Knicks at the top of the East a year ago, and they won the whole thing. So you never know. You never, ever know. And Major League Baseball, Paul Skeens, 6 shutout innings. He's back. His velocity's up. Think he has some kind of arm trouble or something? Or
I don't
think
know.
It's just mechanics and they fix it?
I don't know. Tired arm, dead arm. I don't know. But he was back up to 99. and he had dropped several miles off that fastball. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like he's too young to be losing velocity right now. We can see later that happens to everybody.
We didn't talk about this earlier. The Brewers sent in a message. Their rookie shortstop, Cooper Pratt, failed to run hard and a pop-up fell, so he's at first base, and he could have been at second, so Pat Murphy sends a message and pulls him.
Yeah, but the ball, it was a bloop behind first base, and it could have been foul, but, you got to put your head down and run. You're not asked. You don't run a lot in baseball, so when the opportunity's there, run, especially if you're a rookie. If you're Bryce Harper and you want to take a jog because your legs are feeling a little tired today.
He probably didn't get pulled from a game. He probably doesn't show up. Probably don't show up Mike Trout, Bryce Harper,
right.
Shohei Ohtani.
Because you got to play so many games.
Aaron Judge, right? Yeah. But the rookie, we can send a message.
Right.
All right, DJ PK, when we come back, your feedback. Well, now you've done it, PK. Man, you triggered people. This is so predictable. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Woo! Oh, I was there. It's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach Friday from 10 to 2 at Tim Dolly Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive. Join him 10 to 2 Friday. Well, now you've done it, PK. It's been decades building and you've triggered people.
What?
You brought up Fletch. And so we both got the text. Immediately. Cujo, here's the dog that tried to bite me. Here's my car. He tried to bite that too.
Yeah.
Gotta love Fletch. I probably watched it 50 times. Paul sends us that.
I let him know that any chance I get, I like to order a steak sandwich.
And a steak sandwich. Yeah, put on the Underhills bell.
And then the gal answers the door in just a towel after getting out of the shower, and he said he needed to borrow that towel.
Yep.
That was a close one.
So many lines from Fletch.
Moon River on the prostate exam.
River.
And have you done time,
Doc? Ever done time?
And my personal favorite, 6'3", 6'7" with the afro.
I thought it was 6'6", 6'9" with the afro. Oh, okay. Let's get these quotes right. This is Fletch. This is important.
Fletch dreams he's playing for the Lakers.
Getting introduced by Chick Hearn, who had a cameo. I saw that on campus. They screened a test of that. I don't know why they came up to Santa Barbara. Somebody probably won a weekend in Santa Barbara, I guess, a movie studio person. And it was in Campbell Hall, which is a huge lecture hall, probably 1,000 people in there. And that was an awesome time. I think probably one of the top 2 or 3. I don't really think about like movie crowds the way you think of like a crowd at a game, but that was like a crowd at a game. They were just way into it. People were just roaring, going nuts over that movie. Chevy Chase, peak of his powers.
I have a friend who hated Chevy Chase and would not see the movie because he hated Chevy Chase. He says all his movies were stupid. I said, fine, all his movies are stupid, but this one is good. Anybody never saw it?
Missed out. All right, the rest of your feedback on the actual sports topics. Dolly Parton, where does she rank on your all-time list? Ben says first, second, and third. A lot of Dolly Parton fans weighing in this morning.
I saw a thing, a Mount Rushmore of people from Tennessee.
Oh, really?
And she was there.
I don't know that I would know who's from Tennessee. I guess that would be my first problem. Who else was on
military guys, Neyland, which the stadium is named after, Andrew Jackson.
Okay. A couple generals going way back.
Those types, and Dolly Parton from Tennessee. Somebody said, hey, you could put Elvis on there. Now, it's just the corner in Memphis. He's born in Mississippi, so he's not a native, but he grew up in the Memphis area, obviously. But yeah, you need a caliber like an Elvis or a Michael Jackson to even think to begin anybody was bigger and more popular and more well-known and famous than Dolly Parton. I mean, it hit the country yesterday. Everybody's, Dolly Parton died? That sucks.
That was a unanimous reaction.
Yeah.
From music fans, movie fans. She's great on talk shows, so self-deprecating.
Right.
People were talking about her humanitarian work, which honestly I didn't hear about until like a year or two ago. Maybe I should have known about it. But it turns out she started this literacy project, and you register kids, and they send a free book every month until they're 5 to get kids reading at a young age. And apparently she's giving away 300 million books. I mean, Dolly Parton just across the board.
Mm-hmm.
All right, DJ and PK, we're all done. Coming up next, it's Scotty G. It's the coach, Tim Lacombe, right after the break, right here on The Zone.
Okay, show's over.
That's all the time we have for today.
Oh, just when it was getting good.
Don't worry, we'll be back soon. Bon voyage.
Arrivederci.
Closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.